Hello, everybody, and welcome into round 7 of the 2024 RaceFactoryGaming Grand Prix Championship in MX Simulator, live here on Start Your Systems TV. I am Kellen Brower. So happy to have you guys join us today, a delayed broadcast of the 7th round of the championship. The race did already actually happen last night, but I have not seen it. I have not seen results. I don't know anything about it other than the fact that I have the demos for the racing that occurred, and we're going to go ahead and broadcast them right now. So a little bit delayed with getting back home yesterday from a trip I was out of town for, so apologies that we did not get the live cast done, but figured a little afternoon stream to have some fun and get after it today with covering round 7 of 10 in this championship. So before we jump in and cover this race, because it's going to start here pretty quickly, let's quickly just talk about qualifying, what happened there before these guys went racing. The fast qualifier was Frank Jackson at a 141 flat in the mxgp division. So old Frankie Jackson looks like he is getting back to his business of late and going quite fast around this France circuit. Saint-Jean-d'Angely, Seth Surley, Killian Ortiz, Blake O'Brien, Teddy Lehman, all up in the mix, and it looks like we had just about 40 people run lap times, so I don't think there was consies. I got all the demos sent to me, didn't have any consies listed there, but Frank Jackson did go fastest. T-Lang, by the way, our points leader, P7 on the list there. Surprise in the MX2 division, Bertram Hansen finally eclipses Seth Carr, who I think was perfect in qualifying all season long to this point. A 141.703 for Hansen on the number 95 machine, as Carr goes 142.3. But remember, Seth Carr coming in has a massive championship lead. He technically could leave here as the world champion. We're going to find out at the end of this whether he is or not. I can't look at the standings because they've already been updated, so I don't want to surprise anyone or give some early indications away yet, but he did come in with, I think, 128 points up. He had to be 150 or more leaving this round to be crowned world champion 3 whole rounds early. We'll talk about that when we get there, though. But Seth Carr, Lucas Brune, Jack Gatlin, Dylan Dallaire, all nice and tidy at the top. Close times in this 250 division at the sharp end of the field this week, where normally Seth Carr had been kind of clapping him in qualifying. So good to see that dynamic shaping up well and sets us up for a good night of racing in this MX2 division. So here's a look at this racetrack. If you've never seen the Saint-Jean-d'Angely track before, host of the 2011 Motocross of Nations, right-handed first turn sweeper up into a left hand at the top of the hill. The entire thing is kind of built onto a hillside. The finish line jump is kind of middle bottom of your screen where the Race Tech finish line jump is there, and it's about 4 or 5 corners in. And then just up and down the hills from there, up and down and all around, big tables, triples, and some stuff at the top of the hill that make it fun. A nice step down as well into the center. Always a good opportunity for some passing, and it slithers its way all the way back over by the starting line area where you right-hand 90 down past the mechanics area and complete a lap here at Saint-Jean-d'Angely. So the luxury that we have with this is because I have the demos, we are pretty much ready to go right away. So I'm going to go ahead and get our graphics all squared away up on the screen, ready to go. And then we are going to drop the gate on 250 Moto 1, also known as MX2 Race 1. And just want to double check that I have it up in the server correctly. We do. We are ready to go. Timing is at 0. So sit back and enjoy the show. Thanks everybody who's tuning in live, or if you're checking it out later, welcome to the show. Let's go racing. It's MX2 Race 1 coming up right about now. We are going to get these guys ready to go. They are on the gate, ready to fire into turn number 1, 30 minutes plus 2 laps. MX2 Race 1 at the RFGP of France is set and ready. 30 card is sideways. We're off and running. Who's going to get to the first turn first? It looks like out of the middle, Max Wilczek is going to push wide. Last week's winner in Portugal. And there is your points leader, Seth Carr. Around the outside into the early race lead. Got Ben Nerona, who led up the uphill for a split second. And now Seth Carr is out front, where he is usually in this MXGP championship in the MX2 division. So this is going to be a bit of a danger zone for everybody else who would like to follow Seth Carr through, because he is dangerous when he gets into the race lead early. We've seen it so many times this year, and he is officially going to lead at the end of lap number 1. So we got a lot of moto still left to go, 30 minutes plus 2 in this one, and let's figure out where our battles are going to start developing. If Carr's going to streak away at the front, what do we got going on? Ben Nerona currently dealing with Maverick Snyder in a heated battle for second place early on in this one, trying to peep out where some of our other competitors are. Where is Bertram Hansen as well, our fastest qualifier? Where did he end up off the gate drop in this one? So we swoop around at the far end of the circuit from the starting line. Snyder poking a nose up the inside of Nerona, but not quite close enough just yet. So Nerona's going to swoop down the outside. Inside option for Snyder, hits that little anthill. And then if you can, you want to double all the way past that knuckle. And I'd have to imagine just about everyone's going to use that kind of preferred outside line at the bottom of the hill to maintain momentum and get a drive going up the uphill. So if you're just joining us right now, this is the recast of the 2024 RFGP of France. Happened last night, but we are covering it now. So join up in the chat. Get involved, and if you were racing this last night, you might even be able to hang out in the chat room and chat with us right now. Big shout out to Nasty SDS as well for subbing up his second month streak, 2 in a row. And welcome to the Members Lounge, good sir. Thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you guys will sit back and enjoy the show. We'll be with you guys for the next 2.5 or so hours. So here's Seth Carr, 1 full lap almost completed, basically a lap and a half at this point, but it is going to be on the lap number 3 because lap 2 is our first official lap that's scored, and he has already got himself a comfortable lead. This fight for second is good, though, man. Ben Nerona and Maverick Snyder going at it. They got to watch in the background Jack Gatlin and Bertram Hansen. There is our fastest qualifier, the 31 TSCZ Productions Fantic. Off to a good one. And he's putting the heat on Gatlin for 4th, and Gatlin makes a mistake. So Hansen takes over into the 4th position. Now back to that fight for second. Snyder still putting the heat on Ben Nerona. They swoop around the outside and launch at the top of the hill into this underground RC tabletop. And now you can see pretty much everyone switch to that outside. You're going to see the lines continue to develop throughout the moto as well. The game does have an erode system in it, and the track will wear down as these guys go over each section of the track. You also see some new tread marks that have been implemented in the game. I think that's probably about maybe 8 months old now at this point. We've had tread marks in the game. I think we had them for all of Supercross, if I remember right. So maybe even longer than that. But Nerona has broke free from Snyder, and Snyder instead is under attack for 3rd. Here comes Bertram Hansen on the 31 TSCZ Productions Fantic, closing up on the 58 Yamaha, the Takatoji backed rider Maverick Snyder. And honestly, all these guys are hanging real close together. Nerona, little front end tuck coming out of the corner there at the top of the hill. And if Snyder could have doubled down right there, he might have had a pass. He still might get it done anyway. And just like that, as he was under attack for 3rd, he is pushing up to the rear fender of Nerona in a fight for 2nd. Up and over the finish line jump we go on to lap number 4. Seth Carr continues to lead here just about 5 minutes in. He's already 2-3 sections ahead. He's off the screen from these guys. But this fight, man, for 2nd is relentless. And look at how many guys are kind of bottled up behind them. There's still Bertram Hansen, Jack Gatlin there in the background. Your running order displayed across the top of your screen, letting you know where your favorite rider is in this race. Lucas Brune, Hansen's teammate, also hanging tough there in P6, is jumping into the fray. Hansen got up alongside Maverick Snyder, and then Snyder immediately responded tucked to the inside to defend. Now who's going to get the better drive down this hill? They're both charging to this outside rut. Actually, Hansen switches back up. Oh, and they contact. Huge collision between Snyder and Bertram Hansen. Two lines coming together, and Snyder's able to get out of it with only losing that one position, or maybe two actually, I should say, as Gatlin had gotten by, and now he goes down on his Unity TM Factory Racing back ride. Look at all the riders coming in here. We got Colin Holden, Hansen picking it up from a crash. Emmanuel Cepeda also finds his way up into the mix. That is unbelievable how quickly that shaped up right there. So outside line for Bertram Hansen trying to get Cepeda now. Turns back to the inside, and it's a drag race into turn number one. Hansen trying to get a nose in there is not going to do it. And this is now, I believe, your fight for fourth, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, fourth place, as up ahead is Snyder got away. Well, actually, no, fifth place, because Nerona's still in second. Brune third, Snyder now fourth, and then Cepeda fifth as Hansen lays it down off the inside of the track and goes down. Tough break for him because he was having a good run there, trying to get into third, and he slips back to just in front of Dylan Dallaire, and I believe that's eighth position now. As Braden Tharp went by, Race Cobble also went by. Oh, Tharp landing on Quinault there, Tom Quinault, on the RBT hashtag home GP. That is the fast Frenchman, Tom Quinault. Always see him racing these NA races, whether it's the GP or the Nationals, and kind of cool to see him mixing it up. So Colin Holden putting the heat on Emmanuel Cepeda. He is one of the few riders that still can mathematically keep this thing alive at the end of the day. Did not see whether Austin Partolo made the call to the gate on this one. He was second in the World Championship entering. A lot of these guys don't make it to every race. But this fight between Cepeda and Holden could have implications later on. Okay, so Partolo did make it. He's 29th. He was down early. And as these guys launch the wall jump at the top of the hill, fighting it out for fifth place, Partolo is fighting for his World Championship hopes, which are pretty much all but dashed, but we're seeing whether Carr can hold on as Holden makes a nice move on Cepeda. Now Cepeda high centers on that rut. Here comes Gatlin, Bertram Hansen, or excuse me, Lucas Brune, who slipped back behind these guys, still close together in the fight. And now a mistake for Cepeda. Gatlin was going to swoop the line, and then Cepeda made a huge mistake. He gets into Brune, front flips, and somehow stays up. Tharp is going to double by him on the inside, and Cepeda gets up right in front of Race Cobble. Now Cobble pushes the nose out. Quinault and Dallaire kind of split them on either side. They're still kind of three wide coming down the hill, but it is going to be Dallaire, Quinault, and Cobble now. Look at that. Now Quinault up the inside, gets by Cobble, goes right after Dylan Dallaire. This is the kind of battles we love to see throughout the field here in RFGP competition. All right. So let's peek our nose back out towards the front as, Nerona went down in second at the top of the hill, and he's going to slip all the way back to that Lucas Brune Tharp situation going on back here. They're battling with each other. We got a lapped rider getting in the way, trying to get out of the way. So Holden is now into fourth. Yeah, because Maverick Snyder just moved into second. Here's Seth Carr at the tippy top of the hill. It's about to drop back down again. Oh, and Snyder's down off the top of the hill in second. So now Gatlin takes it over. Remember, he's gone down as well at some point in this race. Colin Holden's all the way up to third, but now he's going to get past. Up the inside goes Lucas Brune into P3. These guys are just in a absolute dogfight with each other. As Holden tries to swoop the outside, get a drive down this back straightaway. Four riders in the air together. Snyder nose high, just trying not to get clipped by anyone. And then Gatlin goes down on the inside out of second. So that's going to put Brune second, Tharp third. And Tharp sliding out in front of these guys allows Holden to the outside of Snyder. He goes back into fourth, and now Tharp goes down in third. He's off the bike and going to lose several positions because look at how close everybody still was. He goes from third back to 10th in a heartbeat right there. And that promotes Holden back into P3, or in a fight for second there with Lucas Brune as they drop down the hill to the outside. Brune inside, Holden to the outside. And yeah, Carr is still long gone at the front of the field. We'll get a look at where these guys are in a minute. But here's your battle for second, coming down to complete lap number 6 on the lap 7. Lucas Brune out of Germany now in front of Colin Holden. And so I think Holden entered 131 or so back from Seth Carr as he launches his way back into second. And as long as he can just maybe land on the podium today, I think this championship will stay alive. We'll have to see just how far up, if he can keep making moves, Austin Partolo is able to get, as Brune is still fancying a move to get back by Colin Holden as they work through lap traffic. I think that might be the 77 ride of Jared Gummison, and now Gummison gets into the back of Holden, and Holden goes down. What a turn of events that is, as a lot of guys are jumping down the hill. Dylan Dallaire goes by, Jack Gatlin went by, Lucas Brune's now up to second, and yeah, it's a 32-second advantage for Seth Carr. We're only 11 minutes into this thing. Good grief, he is gone. Also, welcome to Alfie Richards in the chat. So shout out Tyler Valentine in P20. Let's go back and check out his boy, how things are going for T-Val back here. There he is, Dr. Do Racing, 79 program, and he is holding on to 20th still. So he was P20 when Alfie Richards checked in a little bit ago, still P20 now, but closing up on Tyler Blowers. They are long behind 18th in this race, so they got a ways to go. As, yeah, a couple guys up here still fighting it out. So Noronha was second. He's now ninth. Evan Vanderkoy has slipped his way into the mix. He's now right behind Tom Quinault, who's in seventh. Maverick Snyder sixth. Colin Holden drifts back to fifth after that crash. Fourth for Dylan Dallaire now. Jack Gatlin third, and Brune second. This is pretty much the race to watch, because this man, we didn't have to switch cameras because he's already a half a lap ahead going up the hill as those guys are coming out of the finish line jump turn. Seth Carr, how far is he going to lap up in this race? Probably something unbelievable, because he is flying around this track, making it look way too easy, and certainly on his way to claiming a world title. So Brune's coming out of the far end of the circuit, and Carr is going into where the starting line is. That's pretty much a whole, yeah, I don't know, 6-7 corners ahead, 35-second lead. Oh, front flip for a lapper in front of Brune down the downhill. Brune's like, yeah, I'm just going to tuck to the inside and not deal with that. Fight for third, maybe starting to kick up a little bit. Dylan Dallaire putting some heat onto Jack Gatland. Oh my, Gatlin goes for a ride, slides it down. Nice little job to kind of pirouette out of it and save it. But he does get jumped over by a lapper. That's always a little painful, especially when the lapper gets into the battle as he cuts off Maverick Snyder. Snyder is trying to keep Colin Holden behind him and instead go after Jack Gatlin, but he's having to work through lap traffic to do it. And that lapper is just refusing to move. And these guys are just in lap traffic hell right now. There are so many lappers they're already hitting. And mind you, these guys are 40 seconds behind our race leader. As Dallaire just trying to swoop into some clean air, but Jack Gatlin using the lapper as a pick, perhaps. Trying to just figure out an option to get by Dallaire. Not done just yet. So Dallaire, Gatlin, Holden, 3, 4, 5, and then Snyder right behind Colin Holden, putting the heat on him. We got riders down going up the uphill, and that is tricky for these guys to navigate. Look at how many riders they're having to go around. Holden trying to push that lapper out of the way and go by Gatlin. And did they get by? Well, Dallaire, yeah, Dallaire is down off the track, and Holden just got taken out by that lapped rider. So I don't know what is going on. We're having some problems with lappers in this one already, as these guys are just causing some issues. And yeah, I mean, I guess because Seth Carr's so far out in front, these guys don't even know what hit him. So here's Brune. So let's see, what is Carr lapped up to already? He is right behind 23rd, Lumi. Halfway into this moto, he's almost into the points in terms of lappers. Pretty crazy. So Wilczek, Quinault, Holden, they're still all together as Holden goes for a bit of a ride. Dallaire has now got 8 seconds up to P3 on the track as Wilczek finally makes his way in. So last week's winner in Portugal, or Moto 1 winner, I should say, in Portugal, now finds its way into the top 5. It's been a minute. He almost got the whole shot pushed wide and got shuffled back, and now he's been working his way forward, and commentators curse. We go on board with him, and he yards up. So he's going to go from 5th to 8th, I think. Well, he's going to get pushed down by Colin Holden. It's a double fall off. Oh, that's brutal. Brutal. As Tharp goes by, and the 24 was not for position. Tharp was the last bike to go through. Holden went by Snyder, and he was right there with Quinault, so he lost, about 5 positions. That is a tough break to double fall off coming down that hill. And Wilczek has to go back to the drawing board again. So let's reset things as we are halfway through. What is up, D. Davis? Sure, Devin raced the MXGP class last night, so we're about to check out them here in about 20 minutes. We'll load up MXGP Race 1 for the replay of that. Good to see him hanging out. Like I said, I think it's kind of cool that we will be able to broadcast this and have potentially some of the guys that raced it hanging out in the chat room. But right now, it is all this guy. Seth Carr in control at the front of the field. Look at this. He's even tripling up the hill. Comes up a little bit short right there. But my goodness, he is gone. So Seth Carr on the lap 11, 16 and a half minutes have come and gone. And the Panini Motorsports, backed by ShopDeegan38.com, Fantic, has got himself a comfortable lead over this man. Lucas Brune, TSCC Productions number 13 is P2. Jack Gatlin on the TM Factory Racing Unity-backed program, number 41, is third. Fourth right now for Dylan Dallaire, the Phil Ski and Snowboard, back number 229, but he's on Adam Holmes number 17, 250, until Braden Carter can wake up and make him a bike. Tom Quinault rounds out our top 5. Home race for the RBT number 18. 6th for Maverick Snyder, Takatoji number 58. 7th is Max Wilczek, Allied Kawasaki on the 105. Oh, Ty Tom Jones almost went for a ride coming down that hill. He's up to 8th, and he's got Tharp. Who's that also back there? Is that Dallaire? Or that's Holden, actually. Holden, Tharp, right there, and that lapper still trying to weave his way in front of these guys. Getting out of the way. But yeah, Tom Jones sideways down that hill, almost had a bit of a ride. D. Davis did not race last night, so he's just hanging out. Good to see him. Side by side up the hill. Tharp launches to the outside, makes that pass on Tom Jones. But these guys in a good fight inside the top 10 as our leader continues to be Seth Carr. I think this is MW269 in chat is Max Wilczek, and he was trying to tell me in Discord yesterday that Wilczek is not how you pronounce it. So we could do this right now. We could hash it out on air on how you actually pronounce his name. I told him, because he said it's not Wilczek, and then he said it's Will and then CZEK. And I'm like, yeah, man, we pronounce CZECH for Czech Republic, as in Czech. So I was like, I figured your name was Wilczek. And he said he would send me a voice memo on how to pronounce it. So I'm assuming it's probably like Wilczek or Wilczek. I don't know. Some sort of variation of that. But we'll figure it out. We'll get there when it's time. Don't like mispronouncing names. It's one of those pet peeves of mine is you hear it far too often of guys messing up names of riders. Like, for example, Anthony Burden. They keep calling him in Supercross. And they said they asked him, and he said it's pronounced Burden. And then I asked all the French people, and they said, no, it's Bourdon. Anthony Bourdon. So just pronounce it Bourdon. You don't need to say Burden, Bourdon. Dylan Dallaire hanging close to Jack Gatlin. Would really love to get on the box. He working his way up into a fight to maybe do so. Snyder a quiet 5th. And Quinault just going at it with Max Wilczek. Over the finish line jump. Wilczek to the inside. Quinault low lines the outside to keep it on the gas and hold position. I love when two lines work out like that, where it looks like one option might be getting ahead and Quinault just powers back through. That's how inside-outside options really should work. but they don't always, and it's okay. It's how tracks are built. Quino dancing down the hill, though. Really wants to hold. We'll check at bay. Probably already bummed out that he lost the top 5 position to Snyder, so he's putting his head forward and going. Who is Fly Guy? I don't know who Fly Guy is, but my hand in chat letting people know he wants to know more about Fly Guys. We got a battle going up the hill. We'll check and Quino. Oh, Quino crosses over, blocks. 3 riders in the air together. One of them's on a 125, but he's a lap down. And Quino has done a really good job at keeping him at bay. But it is not over yet in this fight as they drop down the hill, and this might be the move for Wilczek up the inside, down the mechanics area, and a nice move into 6th. Just overpowered him, and a better line choice coming down the hill as Quino kind of hopped out of the main rut. Wilczek got it clean, and that's all she wrote for that position. It's like Gatlin has snuck away a little bit from Dylan Dallaire. And is he reeling in Lucas Brune? 148.5, 148.8? The answer is no. He is 6.9 seconds down. Trying to close that gap down. Brune, for what it's worth, has actually lowered the lead gap down to 27.7, which I can only assume is car having some crashes. Because lap time wise, he was going a fair bit fast. Yeah, I mean, 2:03.9 last time. By now, probably 2 fall offs. And maybe trying to make it a 3rd here. They bounce down the hill. So what is Carr lapped up to now? Let's go find out where he is. He's right behind a gaggle of riders. Some of them are 2 laps down because he's in front of Vanderkoy, and then there's 3 riders, between Nerona and Vanderkoy, and they all must be 2 laps down. And Carr is going around some of them. So Nerona 16th is still on the lead lap, but everyone 17th on back is a lap down. And yeah, Seth Carr is moving. Austin Partolo update. He is one of the few riders that's trying to keep this championship alive. Bouncing down the hill. And he's 13th, and as I say that, he goes down. This is going to be a really tough road for Partolo. Colin Holden, Cepeda, I know, is also in the mix, as some of these guys that are just trying to keep the championship alive. In fact, the person who might be moving to 2nd in the championship is this gentleman right here, Jack Gatland. So for Gatland's sake, who knows, but might be keeping this championship alive. He has currently got some pressure from a lapped rider. That is the 15. I think, is that Evan Holt? Perhaps? And then Brune just quietly still P2. Look at the amount of lappers that Seth Carr is dealing with. He's now caught Partolo, who's 2nd in the standings. Partolo trying to maintain his position on the lead lap, and then lays it over and goes down. Another rider goes down in front of Seth Carr. And he's just, at this point, weaving through guys. The field is more spread out. He would be lapping quite a few bit more of them. But he is now lapped up to 14th here with about 6 minutes to go. We'll check off the track. Snyder, Quino, we got 0 battles going on right now. So we could just watch Seth Carr do his work. Carr has been so good in this GP championship. It is incredible, the season he has put together, and deserves a lot of praise because he painfully lost the 250 East title, I think it was this year, to Balzer in Supercross, and bounced back from that with a vengeance. It's kind of like the Adam Cianciarulo 2019 Revenge Tour. That's what you want to call it. After he lost Supercross Indoors, to just the weirdest crash in Las Vegas, and then dominated 250 outdoors after that. That's kind of what Seth Carr's been doing, and it's not necessarily been complete outright dominance of the national championship, but GPs, it's certainly nothing but dominance as he tries to work around his teammate Braden Tharp. Tharp is making him work for it, but Seth Carr is like, yeah, whatever, dude. I got you. Just leave me alone. No point in putting up a fight about this. Come on. All right, coming down to the final 4.5 minutes plus 2 laps in this race. Seth Carr has now lapped Braden Tharp and Emmanuel Cepeda. As he continues to absolutely crush the souls of the competition in this race. All right, we have got ourselves a battle for 5th starting to brew again. Maverick Snyder reeling in Dylan Dallaire, and excuse me, I think I misspoke. I think this is your battle for 4th. It is. Dallaire landing off the wall jump. Snyder is in P5. He's trying to get to 4th. 3 seconds back of them is still Tom Quinault. So if they get together, start messing with each other. Is this track in Mexico, or is your reshade off? My reshade is on, but I have changed the color scheme a little bit so it's not as ridiculously vibrant. If you'd like, I can make it super vibrant again. Still about 1.5 seconds, give or take 10 bike lengths or so between Snyder and Dallaire. And as I say that, Snyder pushes the nose at the top of the hill, jumps over that rut, and loses some time. So Tom Quinault is licking his chops. He wants to get up here and start battling. Says, come on, guys, let me have a piece. Let me get up there. Oh, and Snyder lays it down at the top of the hill. Not a full fall-off crash. Must have just kind of cased and slid out awkwardly. And now Quinault in his home race, back inside the top 5. Okay, yeah. Cowies were glowing before. But, I mean, this is still a pretty glowy Cowie. At least in the sunlight. It's a little vibrant, to say the least. But I did try to soften it just a little bit. Soften the tones. Still have the track be pretty detailed, though. But I've found that with some tracks, particularly when I was playing Dr. Do Compound of late, like, you couldn't see the bumps because it was so saturated. So I was like, yeah, we gotta change our reshade. Honestly, I should probably just get together with, like, Murray or Holtzy or somebody that has a really good film reshade, and that should be the one that we use for the broadcast. Well, Quinault and Snyder still not done as they weave through lap traffic, and Snyder is getting blocked by one of the allied Kawasaki's. I'm not sure who that was. But that caused a bit of a rift there, because Quinault and Snyder were pretty much nose to tail, and suddenly Quinault has a little bit more breathing room to deal with than he had before. So the track continues to wear in. The bumps and the ruts just get bigger and bigger. And this man continues to make it look easy. Just wanted to poke back up here real quick and see where he's at as he pile drives the ground. He's a minute from time expiring, but he's got 3 corners still to go. He could wait. He really could wait and cross the line just as time expires, but I doubt he's going to do that. He's going to give us a whole extra lap of fun. We've got 40 seconds left on the clock now. So 3 laps to go this time by. For Seth Carr, your race leader. 3 to go in France. MX2, or race 1 here tonight. Still seems like Dallaire, Snyder, maybe, or Quinault, Snyder, the closest battle. Dallaire still P4. Colin Holden still 7th. Wilczek 8th. Maytom Jones in P9. I believe is Ty Ronnie MX161 over on our Twitch chat And he said he barked 250 Moto 1, then rode like he just got the game in Moto 2. So we're excited to see the total collapse in Moto 2 for the Unity TM Factory Racing number 23 program. Right now dealing with some intense heat from Tyler Nichols of the Spink program and the Allied Kawasaki of the 50. That's Race Cobble. And these guys are just like in lap traffic hell once again. 3 riders jumping off the top of the hill. Oh, and Cobble lands on Nichols, creates a chain of events that causes several riders to go down. I think one of them was the 77 there, who's been a lap down for quite a while. But that did allow Austin Partolo to gain another position, which is kind of a big deal in terms of keeping that championship alive for another week. Like we said, he needed to not be outscored by, I think, 22 points or so tonight from Seth Carr to keep the championship going. And look, we get it. Seth is going to win this title, but I think all these guys would prefer to not have it 3 rounds early in a 10-round series. That seems a little bit much. And on top of that, if you're Partolo, if you're Holden, Jack Gatlin, all those guys, they, still have the individual bragging rights of fighting for P2 in the championship. That would, mean at least something to each of them. As Ty Maytom Jones runs into Partolo, who is just down. And now Maytom Jones gets hit by lap traffic. Race Cobble takes advantage and goes by both of them. Oh, and Wilczek, speaking of lap traffic, just got bodied by one. Lappers aplenty in this race. That's what happens when you stack them 45 deep. Colin Holden and Maverick Snyder going at it. Holden gets by him into, I think this is 5th now. 6th, excuse me. Snyder back to 7th. And Dylan Dallaire and Tom Quinault debating P4 on the racetrack. Quinault does not want to give it up, but Lapper's going to play a bit of a role in blocking that inside line, so he will have to relent. And Dallaire scoots into P4 on the racetrack as they still are just absolutely weaving through lap traffic. Here's Gatlin, Brune, and Carr. So Carr is now, let's see, he is coming into turn number 1. And okay, all these guys are lapped down. The last person he lapped was Wilczek. Last person on the lead lap is Maverick Snyder, and he really honestly could get a few more before this race is done, but the saving grace for all these guys is the white flag is about to wave as Seth Carr gets into it with, I think that is Jax Lindsay. Jax Lindsay disconnects. He is having no fun here tonight. He was in P24 and looks like his moto is done. And now Seth Carr has a double fall-off crash as he's coming to take the white flag. So Race Cobble unlaps himself. But the white flag now waves. 1 lap to go here in France for Seth Carr. And at this point, he's just going to probably lay down a quali lap. He's got such a big lead that he can afford to really go crazy on this final lap if he wants to. But he has led this thing pretty much from start to what is about to be the finish here in a lap as he lays the front end into that rut a little bit too abruptly. Didn't quite get the whole shot. I believe that honor by a nose went to Ben Nerona. But out of turn 2 and beyond, it's been all Seth Carr, which has pretty much been the story at every Grand Prix this year. Oh, Holden laid it down, and there goes Race Cobble, or is that Wilczek? That's neither of them, excuse me. That must have been the 15 ride of Evan Holt. Here's Wilczek at the top of the hill, and then Race Cobble. So it's actually Wilczek that unlapped himself. My apologies, I'm just all over the place right now. But Seth Carr is cruising for what I think is going to be his 11th moto win of the season. From 13 tries, or his 10th perhaps 10th moto win. I don't know, he's only lost 2 or 3 this year. Hence the massive championship lead. Goes down the mechanics area one last time, little salute, and goes by Wilczek once again. Sees more championship points slipping behind him basically. So we'll see if he can wrap this thing up early tonight. Or is it going to go another week? But at least in race 1, it's going to go all his way as he comes up to the top of the hill. MX2 race 1 at the RFGP of France goes to Seth Carr as he takes the win in dominant fashion. Everywhere and anywhere you look, he is putting time and time again on the rest of the field. Credit to Lucas Brune, who rode a really good race to get in the second and held it from about the midpoint on. Looks like he is going to easily hold on to it, especially now with Jack Gatlin down at the top of the hill. In fact, Gatlin, he cannot afford another crash here. One more fall from the 41 TM, and he might lose P3 in this race, as there is Lucas Brune coming down to confirm his P2 result. Ended up 42.6 seconds down of race leader Seth Carr. That just shows the absolute dominance in which Seth Carr is carrying with him every single time out. Tom Quinault rolling up the hill behind Jack Gatlin, going to get it as close as he possibly can and hope maybe penalties will apply here. And one thing that Quinault has going for him is this sets him up for a potential podium overall pretty well. Getting 4th in the first moto. We've seen so many split results in the 250 class this year. Oh, and as I say that, he's down in the last turn, and Dylan Dallaire is going to take advantage. Dallaire around the outside gets 4th, and just as I said, Quinault might get 4th. He's going to end up 5th. Snyder tumbling down the hill is going to lose 6th to Colin Holden at the line. That was a costly crash for Maverick Snyder. We still got more guys to finish, but Snyder, last guy in the lead lap, P7. Then it was Wilczek, Cobble, Partolo inside the top 10. Ty May, Tom Jones, Tyler Nichols, Braden Tharp, Emmanuel Cepeda, Nick Niles, Evan Vanderkoy, Ben Nerona, Martin Lundquist, Ryan Swanson, and Evan Holt, rounding out our points-paying positions. 2-3 riders still to finish, but they all followed home. This gentleman right here, Seth Carr, Panini Motorsports, getting the job done again. And sets himself up well for Moto 2. So to stick with the theme of a normal broadcast night, we're going to roll into MXGP Race 1 next. I could do MX2 Race 2, but we're just going to do a normal stream here. Penalties are in. Nothing changed inside of our top 10. And that is now confirmed. Seth Carr wins MX2 Race number 1. All right, so what we're going to do here is a cheeky force reload and Moto 1 for the 450s coming up. Let's get the, whoops, not that. I want to get that up, and we will wait on our intermission screen until we come back. Thanks, everybody, for joining me today. Oh, that was actually a much quicker load in than I expected. Apparently, I had all the bikes already loaded, so we will roll right into 450 Race 1. My bad. Not hanging out with you guys. We're going to go in and get ready to drop the gate on MXGP Race number 1 right about meow. All right, let's get our timer going and drop them in. Here we go. MXGP Race number 1. Card is sideways. Who's going to get the all-important Design Lab Co. whole shot? Usually comes out from the middle or the inside here in France. We're off and running. See the 6 of Shirley getting up there. Maybe Lang. A lot of guys going down off the start over the line. It was tough to see who it was. I'm going to do a quick one of these so that we can get timing and scoring to refresh. And it is Caleb Hall out front, but I think it was Seth Shirley who got the Design Lab Co. whole shot. Caleb Hall leads. So Hall from B-Lars, Bodie Parker up in the mix as well. Seth Shirley, all of these 450s tripling up the hill on lap number 1. 4 wide as Shirley cuts through the middle to get in a second. Is he trying to take the lead? Not quite yet. At the end of the first official lap onto lap number 2, Caleb Hall leads the way as they jump up this uphill triple to the top of the circuit once again. U-turn back down. You got Seth Carr right in the mix. Colby Eaglin's off to a good start. He's in 6th. Where is our points leader and defending world champion Tyler Lang? He is in about 5th, actually. I see him right back there in front of Eaglin. So all the heavy hitters that we expect to see in this race are at the sharp end of the field. Now we get to wait and see what happens in this battle for the lead. We know Shirley's speed is pretty difficult to match, but Caleb Hall is no slouch on the 7. They launch down this hill. And Hall just trying to get to this inside and block the line off. Shirley's got a great run around the outside. Side by side up the hill. Shirley trying to take the lead. Pushes Hall out to the outside. Hall gets a run to pull back alongside. There's still bar-to-bar over the wall jump. Shirley controls the inside here, but they both come up a bit short. Hall tries to swoop the line. Now he's going to have the inside coming down the hill. They're still side by side, and Hall finally retakes the race lead. Shirley fights back, but Hall's got the nose to get back to the inside line right there. Nice move, and the battle continues, this time to complete the first full lap as we go through our first turn complex again. Doubling at the top of the hill. These two battling one another. Very close quarters, but very respectful racing so far. And Bodie Parker sitting back there licking his chops. Looks like we have seen Eaglin slip back a little bit. He is now 8th. Did Lang go down? Because I didn't see him in the background anymore. He may have had a fall off there on the 1. Yeah, he's back to 14th. So at the end of the first full lap, as Shirley also went down. He just kind of disappeared behind a berm. I didn't even see him because I was just looking at our timing and scoring. He is now back to 3rd. As into the lead by a pretty good margin is Caleb Hall. Bodie Parker's going with him, though. The Yogi Nexus number 12. And you can see the 450s on this track are taking quite a few different lines than the 250 riders before them. They're able to apex some corners and carry a little bit more momentum with that power of the 450. This track is deceivingly slick. And because of all the hills, you're on the brink of traction in a lot of areas, and you really got to be careful with your throttle control. Parker up the inside trying to make a pass as he launches out into the rollers and yard sales as he tries to go into the lead. Instead, Caleb Hall retains the position, and Parker is off the machine. Going through is Seth Shirley, and speaking of Seth Shirley, part of the fun of being able to recast this race, he just resubbed up with his prime 6 month for Seth Shirley. Thanks for staying in the members lounge, but right now I wish you'd stay on the track as you slide out coming down the hill. Go back to 3rd. And here comes Jason Stubbs, Kyle Boardman coming with. This is 3, 4, 5 on your screen early in this one. Both of them jumping down to that inside line, keeping Seth Shirley as close as they possibly can. Shirley's going after Bodie Parker as he triples up to the outside, cuts back across, and retakes 2nd place. So Parker, who was battling for the lead about 6 corners ago, is now back to 3rd. And Seth Shirley, we know that speed that he carries, 145.9 to a 147 flat out of Caleb Hall. So if we stick on board with Seth Shirley, who's 5.1 seconds back, how long until the speed itself just writes himself into a battle for the race lead? You can see the lead group, lead trio at least, really breaking away from the rest of the pack. Everyone's still kind of jockeying for positions. 4, 5, 6 or so in a tight group, and then 7, 8, 9 also right there. We'll go back and see where T. Lang and Colby Eagland, our championship competitors, are. Shirley's inching that gap down to 3.6 at the top of the hill. 3.4 now. Is he going to do the Bodie Parker line? No. Just going to check up and double. A lot of guys have been casing that double off the wall, and it's deceptive, to say the least, because you carry so much speed into the wall that you kind of are breaking all the way off the face of it. It's one of those jumps that it's the opposite of, let's say, like a Laraco's Leap, where Laraco's Leap is just hold it wide off the back of the bike all the way around the outside. When you break up to a jump, it's so much more difficult to judge your speed and your momentum. So a lot of guys struggling with that on this track to kind of case that double off the wall. So it's down to 4.1. It was down to about 3.4, and then Shirley cased that double. Nails the triple up the hill and gains a lot of time back, though. Oh, wait a minute. He has gone to the lead. Caleb Hall went down. I didn't even see where. So Seth Shirley now out front, and the time split was so seamless, I didn't even realize that he was actually plus instead of minus. Caleb Hall back to 2nd. Did not even see where that was. But a tough break for our early leader. He led for the first almost 4 laps and then coughed it away. He is now 6 seconds back as Shirley has scooted into the race lead. Blake O'Brien now finds himself in third ahead of Stubbs, Hayden Stevenson, and Bodie Parker, with the 4.24 of Colby Eaglin starting to inch up behind these guys. And here is that championship fight. Lang, I believe, entered this one about 21 up on Eagland after back-to-back rough rounds for former points leader on the District Designs Honda. He goes off the track at the top of the hill and hands it over to Lang. These are the two gentlemen, veterans of the sport at this point, that are duking it out with each other. I think they've both been, let's see, Lang's been in the 450 class for 5 years, 6 years, and Eaglin is in year 4, I believe, now. So it's weird to call them veterans, but it's kind of fair compared to the rest of the field. MX Simulator turnover rate tends to be a little bit higher than real life. And there is Eaglin and Lang making quick work of Hayden Stevenson to move up into what I believe is now 5th and 6th, actually 6th and 7th, I should say. Bodie Parker still battling Jason Stubbs on the 6.9 Takatoji Yamaha. Ooh, and Stubbs, a mistake, and he's going to have to roll this as all these guys triple over his head. Be careful. Oh, he jumped right back in front of Eaglin there. And so Eaglin tries to square off the corner to get by. Lang has already gone through, and now Lang is putting his sights onto Bodie Parker. Eaglin inside, trying to get the drive to get this triple and make the pass on Stubbs. He is just keen to go with Tyler Lang, and that's a power move out of the District Designs Honda machine. Lap traffic now starting to come into play. Blocks Lang a little bit, then cuts back in front of Eaglin. Didn't seem purposeful. He honestly looked like he was kind of trying to get out of the way and then just made a big mistake. It's probably the most daunting thing ever when it's your first pro race, or maybe, you know, you're still new to the series and you see the blue bar with the number 1 on it. Certainly raises the hair on the back of your neck a little bit. So now Bodie Parker is the next target for Tyler Lang and Colby Eaglin. Remember, Parker almost went to the race lead off this jump about 3 laps ago, so he has got some good speed here today in France. Lang doesn't care what kind of speed he has. He is just going to start reeling him in and putting the heat on him. Eaglin also by Stubbs in the background has moved up into 6th now. So Lang 5th, Parker 4th. And who's that down right there? That is not O'Brien. I thought it might be. There's Blake O'Brien. Oh, Bodie Parker ends up backwards going for a scrub on the double. And there goes Eaglin. And did Stubbs also go by? No, Stevenson did, though. Hayden Stevenson goes by on the 3. And there is Stubbs just behind Parker as they both look like they have remounted from crashes. Jackson Mills asking me, did the reshade reset? And I did update it slightly just so it wasn't unbelievably vibrant. But I didn't think I'd change it that much. It's still very different from stock. I'll tell you that much. It's much more brighter. There's a lot more exposure. And it is still a little bit saturated, but not as much as it was. I mean, it was heavily saturated before. I was just telling some people earlier on the broadcast, I was playing some other tracks. You couldn't even see the bumps. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with using someone else's reshade. I just want it to look as crisp as possible. And I felt like looking back at some of the broadcasts of late, especially at Agueda, it was just so vibrant, man. You can even see some of the bumps with how blown out the saturation was. So I don't know. I think this one looks just a little bit cleaner. I was just playing with some settings and trying to change it up a little bit. To each their own. Some people like the vibrant. Some people like the more, I guess, realistic, contrasty look. So here is O'Brien, who is held on to 3rd now for better part of 4 laps. as we are going to crest on to the 8th lap of the race for these boys in just a moment. Seth Surley continues to lead this race. And it's close with Caleb Hall not too far back, and then this battle for 3rd. And look at this. Colby Eaglin has come alive, ladies and gentlemen. 42.4 to a 44.4 out of our championship leader, T-Lang, up the road of him. He just went 2 seconds faster, and lap traffic starting to come into play. You're seeing a bird's eye view of it here as O'Brien swings way to the outside, far inside for Eaglin. 3 riders nose to tail. And is that Hall actually in second just in front of them at the bottom of the hill? It might have been, actually. Very different options used through this corner at the top. Yeah, I think that is Caleb Hall there on the Triumph. Yeah, it is. Jumping down the hill. So he's 6 seconds back of our leader, Shirley. Then O'Brien, Lang's trying the outside line on O'Brien, getting a run up the uphill. Does this inside work at the top? He's going to swoop back to the outside, actually. So let's see. Jumps up back across to the far right side of the track, trying to go to the inside, but O'Brien cuts it off and defends. This is a great opportunity for Eagland to maybe pounce and get Lang. Oof. That little step down right there. That tiny kick they get from the few braking bumps off of it. Almost caught out Ty May Tom Jones in the MX2 race earlier as Lang forces the issue up the inside and then gets into Caleb Hall, and they're both down. O'Brien tries to Enduro Man his way through the middle of them and goes down with them, and Eaglin goes from 5th to 2nd in one foul swoop. Now Lang gets up right in front of Hall and keeps going. Oh, and then O'Brien has a fall-off crash of his own. Goes from maybe getting into 2nd to slipping all the way back to 8th, I believe this is. As 7th, just behind Stevenson, Bodie Parker also went by. Lang is now 3rd, Eagland up to 2nd. And that was a weird sequence right there. But quick reflexes by Colby Eagland gives him 3 positions for the price of 1. He's now into 2nd and probably feeling real good about it as well to be in front of Tyler Lang with a little bit of breathing room. They are all still chasing this man, though, Seth Surley. Reigning MX2 world champion and MXGP class rookie, who has had his fair share of fantastic motos this year, but also an equal share of some real tough ones. And it's been the only thing that's kept him from a world championship title fight. But this is the flashes of brilliance that we continue to see from him every single week. And if he can hold it together for the better part of 16 minutes plus 2 laps, this first race should be his. But you can see just how much lap traffic he is having to navigate there. And I wonder if these guys might even get further up the field than we saw in the MX2 class with Seth Carr dominating the first moto. Feel like the sharp end of the field with Shirley, Eagland, Lang, once they get clean air like this, can really put down some ridiculously good and consecutive lap times. As Shirley just a tiny bit short on that uphill triple. You could see the bike hump of panic to get the bike in the right position. And then the JLV sit down, 5th gear, clutch pulled in technique to make sure you don't have a fall off and land on the nose, which is, I mean, just about everything you can do wrong to still land and not fall off the bike is what works in this game. Hashtag simulator. Front end push for Shirley. A little bit of time loss. Oh, we got to change for 2nd. Lang has taken over P2 from Eagland, and Eagland looks like he is, yeah, he was about 4 seconds up. Now he's 3 seconds back. Had to be a fall-off crash or a very lengthy slide out. So he went 151.2, 144 flat for Lang. And once Shirley clears a lapper here, he's going to have some clean air. And once Lang clears this lapper, he's going to have some clean air. So we're going to see some probably about the best lap times these guys will put in for the whole moto. The track is not too rough yet, and all the main lines have worn in pretty well. So this could be where our flamethrower laps get laid down. You can see Lang has got the gap down to 13.8. Eagland was about 3.9 back. Now he's 5 back because he's in a heated fight with Bodie Parker, and we go on board with Parker just in time to see them get together. Parker hit him and then they both front flipped over this wall jump together in a heaping pile of machinery and man as Eaglin gets up in front of him, but they did lose 2 positions. No, just 1. Blake O'Brien was the only rider to go by into 3rd. So Eaglin was in a really good position 2 laps ago in front of T-Lang with some gap and has all but crashed it away at this point. T-Lang is one of those few guys that you don't want to give him even, let's say, 5 seconds on the racetrack, because though he's not always the fastest guy, he's arguably been one of the most consistent riders in MX Simulator national history, which is what gave him a shot at the title that he eventually won in 2021, and obviously picked up a world championship last year in 2023. He just always finds a way to be in the mix. So now that he's got some time behind him and in front of him here in P2, let's see what they're able to put down. So last time by, Seth Shirley 45.5, and there was T-Lang's personal best of 42.8. Shirley probably has had nothing but clean air this entire lap. He's going to hit lappers the last probably 3 corners of it, though. Gap at 12.1. It's been slowly coming down. But it could be a strat thing here. It could just be that Shirley doesn't want to run those good laps right now and establish a bigger gap. He must be in a mindset perhaps where he realizes the gap that he already has, and it's going to take Lang a lot of work to get to him. So instead of extending it, just maintain it as much as you possibly can. I'll say that though, and then the pit board will go 40.9 this time by, and we'll see a new fastest lap of the race. Let's see what we got here. Seth Shirley comes down 44 flat, so not actually as fast as I was expecting. I thought he'd maybe go 43s, but 44 flat, not too far. And then Lang just went off the track at the bottom of the hill. That cost him a lot of time. Gucci111 in chat says, T-Lang, early front runner for Litkit. Honestly, one thing I will say that the JIBR.co guys do so well is the color coordination is immaculate. The boots, the gear, all go together there. I still have never seen what Evoke gear is, but if it is real, check it out, because they make some nice stuff. It looks a little TLD-ish. I almost wonder if Lang ran like a... would be a helmet that would shake things up a little bit. Like if he ran either a Formula or like an Arrow instead of a Shoei. Because a Shoei, though it is not the though it is not the TLD SE3 helmet, it is close enough with kind of the roundness shape of it. Like if you wore a Bell, it would just look like the TLD helmet as well. But if you wore something kind of pointy and a little bit square or something like that, if it would maybe not make it look so TLD-ish. I think what's making the helmet look even TLD-ish is it's kind of got that McGrath look with the orbs with a gradient on it. Very lit kit indeed, though. Shoei, Evoke, and Fox. Fox gloves too. And I'm not sure what happened with T-Lang and whether he broke his right wrist at some point, but got a wrist brace on the right hand and a watch on the left hand. This is one of those things where, like, oh, actually, as I say that, Seth Shirley's got the same thing going on. Wrist brace, right hand, watch on the left hand. So apparently they're breaking right wrists over at JIBR.co. They got to fix that rather quickly. But I should do a gallery, or maybe I should see if one of the really good screenshotters can do a gallery of all the cool gizmos and gadgets in this game at this point. Like, for example, the top of this Shoei helmet that Shirley has, and I assume, yeah, Lang has the same thing. I think that's a Lit Pro device, is it not? On top of their helmets. And then they have the wrist brace, they have the wrist watch. They have, both of these guys usually wear a necklace. So I think that'd be kind of cool if we had like almost like a pit bits kind of thing. Maybe we run it on social. Might look into getting some help to do that. Where we really look at some of the cool nuanced details and different little models that people have been adding to the game of late. Because I think that stuff's really cool. Like, it's so, you don't ever see it, especially when we're broadcasting this. You can't see, you can maybe see the wrist brace on his right hand. You don't know that he's wearing a wristwatch on the left hand. or there's a Lit Pro device on the top of the helmet, or there's a necklace, or any of that stuff. And then don't even get me started on all the little details these guys add to the bikes. So I wonder if that's something we could consider doing, and whether people watching right now would like that. Like a little, maybe not every week, but like once a month we just do a gallery of 10 images of really cool things on the bikes and stuff. And maybe the creators of the machines and stuff will also like that they get a little bit of love for that stuff as well. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Anybody watching? All right, back to our battle for third. Colby Eagland is still trying to reel in Bodie Parker, limit the damage that could be done here. These two got together earlier. I don't know how they would view that contact. It was two guys kind of going to the same line together. So I would assume they both view it as a racing incident, but then again, I've been on the track for races and moments like that before, and you always just assume it's the other person's fault, no matter what. So maybe there's a little bit of animosity, no love lost between these two after that incident, and now they get to dispute third place on the racetrack for our viewing pleasure, and see whether or not there is a bit of frustration that will boil over from that. There you go. Gucci111 says he would like and subscribe if we did that. I might end up doing that stuff as like YouTube posts as well. I don't know if anybody even looks at YouTube posts, but our delayed broadcast when we announced it yesterday was through a YouTube post, and I'm also trying to come up with ways to get our Facebook and Twitter a little bit more engagement. So fan feedback is always nice if you guys have that. Parker weaving through lap traffic, but then lap traffic fighting back against him, making him work for it. Oh, Parker. Whoa. How does he not actually fall off the bike? And the 23 machine lands on him and doesn't go down either. That was pure luck. Both of those guys rode out of that, but it did give just enough time for Colby Eagland to squeak by. He's back in a third. And is this going to be our podium set for the moto? I guess we should say don't look now, but Tyler Lang might still have something to say about it. For a second, I was trying to do a cool pan shot, and then it didn't work anyway. But he is closing up on Seth Shirley ever so slightly. 9.4 now the gap. As Shirley is in a lot of lap traffic, and Lang just cleared a pretty big group of them. How far have we lapped up to here? What are we looking at? Let's see. 17th, Pachone still has not been lapped. But there are 1, 2, 3, probably about 5 people that Shirley's going to hit in the next lap. And they're all in some pretty decent points positions. And as we've talked about many times before on these broadcasts, the further you get into the points, the more difficult it becomes to lap them. Not just because of speed and how good these guys are at actually racing and riding, but they want to hold on to those positions. If you're 11th, you got 3 riders right behind you. You don't want to yield to a blue flag and allow all 3 of those guys to go by just because you're being a good Samaritan. Though it is the right thing to do, sometimes it just doesn't pique your fancy. You'd prefer to hold on to that position and gain those points. And hey, even better yet, get in right behind the leader once he goes by you and take advantage of him lapping other people. It'll annoy the leader to no end, but benefits you. And that's what happens a lot of times with these guys. You'll just see guys that were 16th, 15th get in right behind the race leader and pass their way into 11th or the top 10 by the end of the moto just because they didn't ever really let the leader get too far away. And while these guys were all braking to let the leader go by, they picked up some spots. Like here's Jason Stubbs, for example, who was inside the top 5 early in this moto. Now 25 minutes in, he's back in about 14th, I think. And Shirley's just trying to very methodically work through these guys. He did actually open the gap back up. It's 18.7 now. So Lang had a bad lap there. 54.5 must have been a fall-off crash. I can't imagine that wasn't based on the times they're running. 44.2 for Shirley, and then a 54 for Lang. Yeah, that's probably a fall-off crash. Has to be, right? Eaglin another 18 seconds back of that. And 5 seconds up of Bodie Parker. Killian Ortiz is inside the top 5. Blake O'Brien is 6th. Kyle Boardman 7th. Brandon Larson 8th. Braden Castellaneta 9th. And Adam Holm down in 10th. Is anyone going to jump over him? Yes, Hayden Stevenson goes by into the top 10. So Seth Shirley is looking at another 3 minutes and 2 laps of racing on this track before he is potentially going to pick up the race 1 victory here in France. He's got enough of a lead now that he can kind of manage this thing home. I don't think any of these guys like hearing the word manage. They would prefer to just bring it all the way home. But Shirley's just taking his time now at the front of the field. Doesn't look like he's in a rush to go anywhere. Knows that the race will come to him. So do we have any more battles inside of the top 10? It's looking like a no. Maybe this one here for 10th place is still kind of going. And as I say that, Hayden Stevenson goes down in 11th. And the gaps open back up again. So Adam Holm moves into 11th, but he is 3 seconds behind Frank Jackson. Everyone's just pretty spread out in this race. Good motos for some guys. Ethan Commodore looks like he's going to score some points. That's kind of cool for a regular amateur racer. There's Aaron Rockefeller on the 23 earlier who landed on the back of Bodie Parker and somehow didn't go down. Dre Smith and Aaron Rockefeller get together. Wyatt Grant went down behind them. Why is Wyatt Grant racing a 450 this week? What? He almost podiumed on a 250 2 weeks ago, and now he's on a 450. It sounds like the Hayden Stevenson effect, racing a 250 in Nationals when he's been really pretty good on a 450 in GPs. Bodie Parker just went down in 4th. Not going to matter at all, other than his chances of getting Colby Eaglin to get back into a podium spot went way down with that crash. That seems highly unlikely. It's like maybe B-Lars is finally reeling in Kyle Boardman. Hunter Deischer got the 125 on the stream. Yeah, that must have been that MX2 race when went over the wall jump while you're getting lapped, but still rocking the 125. Always kind of cool to see. Larson makes a mistake right there, but Boardman had already gone down. And, O'Brien just went down. That's going to give Castellaneta a spot. He goes up into, I think this is 7th now, for the number 8. Parker down again. Going to have enough time to pick it up before Ortiz gets there, but it is coming unglued for him when he could have gotten 3rd potentially in this race. And the 2-lap board is about to be displayed for this man. He is well out in front. He said, let's go on board for lap 18. I was a little bit late to reading that message, but it looks like this might be his best lap if he's that excited about it. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, 142.6. So laying down the gauntlet, Seth Shirley laying in some really good laps late in the race. 30 seconds up as the 2-lap board is displayed. So this is probably, and he could speak for himself in the chat here, this might be Seth's best ride of the GP season thus far. because he's able to get in the lead pretty early and hasn't really had a mistake since he's gotten the lead. He lost some time. Lost some time to T Lang, but that quickly relinquished when Lang started crashing, just probably riding over his head to even try to get close to Seth in the first place. And yeah, he confirms in chat, 100% his best ride. Few mistakes opening laps. Other than that, was solid. So there you go. Consistency and speed all meshing together and working himself into a race 1 victory here in France as he weaves around a downed rider with a lap and a half, less than a lap and a half to go. Oh, look at that. Ortiz has gotten Bodie Parker for 4th. So Bodie Parker was 2 seconds behind Eaglin at one point. He has now crashed, I think, 3 times to fall behind Ortiz. He's going to fight back down the inside here and get right back into 4th. But this fight is relentless between these two now. White flag should be displayed any moment, and these guys will see it next time by. And now Parker has another fall-off crash. Oh, he has had too many of these in succession. Slowly rolls up the hill and continues on, but that is certainly going to be quite frustrating that it came unglued the way that it did, because otherwise he would have been right here with this man, Colby Eaglin, fighting for 3rd. He is now 38 seconds behind Eaglin. That is crazy. Crazy how much that turned upside down. Al Boardman, a strong 6th. Still dealing with Castellaneta. Less than 2 seconds behind him in 7th. Bilar's 8th. O'Brien throwing dualies with lappers. I like it. I respect it, and I want to see more of it. Let's throw dualies with lappers all the time. Oh, that's not going to work, though. Gets into the lapper and goes down. Frank Jackson's going to take advantage to go up into 9th. And O'Brien, who was once 3rd, is now all the way back in P10. Oh, Castellaneta gets by Boardman for a fraction of a second, then runs into Aaron Rockefeller and goes to a standstill, so Boardman gets back by him. Boardman's trying to get around this lapper, who is not letting him have it very nicely, but finally goes through. And he is up into 6th now. Very good ride for the EVP program. Check back out with them here in a moment. Parker's going to have one last chance to get Killian Ortiz on this final lap, as Ortiz is really struggling with the deteriorating racetrack. Not struggling at all, though, is this man, Seth Shirley. He's even waiting, looks like, maybe to let someone go by. Yep, Frank Jackson and a lapper going to go by. Anybody else? Nope, he's going to get back on and finish this race up. So he confirmed it in chat himself. It was his best race of the season, and you watched it unfold here. Seth Shirley to the line, takes MXGP Race 1 in France. A dominant victory. And he took hold from the early laps to cruise to the victory in this one. T-Lang looks like he is going to wrap up 2nd, no problem. Got pretty close, though. Eaglin did get it down under 10 seconds, but Lang should survive. Yeah, one final turn. He's got this. Eaglin loses 2 more crucial championship points, and Lang is putting this thing in his back pocket slowly but surely as we're down into the final 7 motos of the season. Killian Ortiz and Bodie Parker is going to come all the way to the checkered flag. 16 versus 12, but 4th and 5th on the racetrack. Who is going to get P4? Ortiz has it for the time being, but Parker's got some good lines. Oh, he lands on him coming down the hill. He tried to square it back off to the outside, and they're both down. Who's going to get up first? They are so far in front of 6th that this doesn't matter. They just don't want to be 5th. They want to be 4th. Look at Parker goes inside. Ortiz rips the triple and got it, greased it on the final lap, and that's going to be the difference. Or is it? He slides out and goes down right at the finish line. Parker ends up in 4th, and Ortiz was 4 feet from the timing gate and crosses in 5th, laying sideways on the ground. Oh my goodness, he did all the hard work. He got the triple when he needed to. He nailed the last rut and then slid out on exit. That one's going to sting a little bit. Castellaneta did end up getting by. What is Bodie Parker still doing on the track? But Castellaneta did end up getting around. Well, Bilars also got around Kyle Boardman. So Boardman goes from 6th to 8th on the final lap. And Frank Jackson, did he get a position? No. So he was the last guy to finish on the lead lap. He almost caught up to Boardman, but in the end, not close enough. Adam Holm was 10th. Jeff Cooper, Blake O'Brien, Hayden Stevenson, Caleb Hall, Jason Stubbs, Anthony Pachone, Wyatt Grant, Reed Young, Aaron Rockefeller, and Ethan Commodore. Rounds out your points paying positions. Penalties are in, and a couple things changed in the middle here, but it's like all these guys ended up actually staying. Just time was changed, and Seth Shirley, half of them is in a wall, but all of them won that race and sets himself up well for winning this Grand Prix, rolling into race 2. All right, let's load up MX2 race 2 now. Get them off the gate. Remember, dominant Moto 1 victory for Seth Carr. So let's see if he can't do it again here in race 2. Get the bikes loaded up. Oh, I forgot to force reload, so excuse me. We're going to have to restart. It's all right. You guys are used to restarts because I have to restart my whole game every single time I load into the server. So one thing I wish that, MX Bikes has the same problem, but I wish it was somehow optimized to be able to just have your load times be a little bit faster, which I get it. It's basically trying to load in like almost probably 100 gigabytes of files at once, but there's just some way to optimize that. It would be so nice. Probably the toughest part about it is because the game is nothing but mods. There's nothing consistent about it. Even everyone's bike is different. Even if you have two teams that are on gases, their packs are completely different. The bikes that are references is completely different. So never the easiest thing. But we will load in MX2 Race 2 and go racing and get an overall winner here shortly. Taking a little bit longer to load in than I thought. I figured if I already had the bikes loaded, it would load faster. It's going to do an intermission between MX2 Race 1 and mxgp Race 1, and then the game loaded immediately. But this time it's taking a little bit longer, so I'm not too sure why that would be. But we will drop the gate here in just a moment. And I forgot to... Wait, I swear I changed my title screen in game. I never closed the game and reopened it. That would be my bad. But we're still looking at the lovely Agueda circuit here. There we go. All right. Let us get a force reload and restart this real quick. Can Seth Carr complete the sweep here in France and ultimately win himself a world championship? We are going to find out in just a moment. All right, it is MX2 Race 2, and it's coming at you live here on Start Your Systems TV. Buckle up, folks. 30 minutes plus 2. Our whole shot is brought to you by the Design Lab Co. Head over to designlabco.com and check them out. Who gets to the first turn first? We are racing once again in France. A lot of guys jockeying for a position. Seth Carr's on a 125 in this moto, and it's going to be a Cowie that got there first. Evan Holt picks up the Design Lab Co. whole shot. Rough first moto for the number 15 Allied Kawasaki, but he's out front early in this one. Jared Gummison, who went down a lap down super early in the first race, already off to a good start in this one. He is in second. Lucas Brun, who was P2 in the first moto, is trying to move into second place, though, and he's going to do it at the top of the hill before the end of lap number 1. So Evan Holt leads across the line from Lucas Brun, Jared Gummison, Tyler Blowers, and Tyler Nichols inside the top 5. Seth Carr, even on a 125, looks like he came out in about 9th position as Race Cobble moves up into 5th around Tyler Nichols. You also have Partolo, Jack Gatland up in the mix. And there is Carr. So can Carr win on a 125? He tried to do it last week in Portugal in the first moto, got all the way up to 3rd. But he had a horrible start in that one. Had to come from, I think, 30th or so to get 3rd. It's been so dominant this year, and now we get to really see if a 125 is capable of winning in 2024 or not. Gets a freebie spot, couple of spots right there, and then dices up Evan Vanderkoy to move into 7th here on the opening lap as we'll peek back out front to our leaders. It has changed. Lucas Brune, second in the first moto, now leads here as he gets by Evan Holt. Holt tries to triple up behind him to get back the lead, but doesn't get it done. Oh, it's very close over that wall jump. But the rider out of Germany on the TSZZ Productions Fantic takes over the lead. Holtzy's not letting him go just yet. And Brune bouncing down the hill leaves the door wide open, but able to swoop the line off and maintain the lead. Good fight between these two. Holtzy tried to get a nose in there and actually almost had to come to a stop to not hit Brune. Now he's going to try this outside double down. Carries some momentum to the bottom of the hill. Brune already down here and cruising. So Holt led the opening lap. Lap 2 this time through is going to go to Lucas Brune. We've got 2 lead changes already. And we got riders down at the top of the hill. That was Race Cobble and Tyler Blowers getting together. They were in 4th and 5th. That allowed Gummison into 3rd. He was already there ahead of Partolo. And now Seth Carr on the 125 is into the top 5. Outside for Partolo on Gummison, trying to get into 3rd. Down the inside in the next turn. Gets it done. Holtzy was down as well. And Gummison tucked the front end. Seth Carr is all the way into 3rd. He has to beat Partolo by a decent chunk of points in this moto to clinch the world title 3 rounds early. And the man he's got to beat is right in front of him. But like I said, he's got to have Partolo further down the order if he wants to hoist the trophy at the end of the day. I think for him, all he really actually wants from this is to go 1-1 and have a moto win on his tally this championship season while riding a 125, but he pushes the rear end out and goes down. Cobble goes by Gummison. Holtzy, Benderona looks like he snuck through as well. There goes Dylan Dallaire. And now Carr picks it up in about 9th. That is going to be a costly one. Really cannot afford crashes when you're down on power. And that was not only a costly crash, but it cost him a lot of positions, and he's going to have to pass all these guys to get back into that fight that he was in with Partolo for 2nd on the racetrack. So now Cobble still has Holtzy right behind him. Gummison is just making small mistakes, and it costs him almost every time he makes them. This time, as Holtzy goes down, Narona's going to get up the inside, almost get the pass done. Gummison got that outside line a little bit better, and Narona pushed the front wheel over. They both got by Holtzy, so they're back inside the top 5. As Lucas Brune continues to lead this race. So if any stat heads are in the chat right now, you're going to have to let me know if Brune has ever won an NA Grand Prix. I'd have to imagine he's won an EU one before. But the rider out of Germany, late evening for him in wherever he's in Germany. Out front here in France. And he's loving this inside at the bottom of the downhill, even early in the race. I thought he was maybe only going there late in the first moto because it was so choppy. But he's proven me wrong. He is just going there because it is his preferred line. Well, Brune is riding very well, but perhaps riding even a little bit better and doing so when he needs to keep the World Championship alive is Austin Partolo. The Panini Motorsports number 10 is now just 2.8 seconds off the lead. We're on board with him here. And he is watching that gap ever so slightly tick closer between he and Brune. Came off the gate knowing he needed to win this race or at least finish in a better position to his championship combatant Seth Carr than he was in the first moto. Right now doing a good job of that. I think Carr has pretty much resigned himself to the fact that he probably wasn't going to clinch here tonight. It would have been a nice thought to end the whole festivities 3 rounds early, but it's not necessary. He knows he's going to win this world title. So just go have some fun. Race a 125. Why not? 144 for Austin Partallo, 150 flat. Lucas Brune, 1.6 seconds between them now. And that was almost 6 whole seconds gained last time by. And Brune had a couple of mistakes, but he's also looking a little bit flustered with the race lead. So now the pressure is on. Partallo wants to go win this moto. I don't think it is going to matter one bit for the Grand Prix victory. But even getting up there and making amends for what was a rather frustrating first moto would be a nice turnaround for Partallo. And honestly, it feels like Brune, just as quickly as I said that he was struggling with the pressure being put on from behind, he's opened that gap back out again. Now it looks like Partallo's on his horse again, though, and that gap is tightened up. Now we're back under a second. And Brune making a few too many bobbles here as Partallo has inched it up. So here we go. Brune second in the first moto, trying to win the second moto here. Partallo 10th in the first moto and really turning it around inside. Shows him a wheel, but not close enough just yet to make that pass. Both swoop to that outside line. Kind of the main lines are pretty set. But you can see Partallo's just trying some different stuff. Outside to inside, and they get together. Neither of them fall off the bike, and they somehow pick it up just the same distance they were apart. Now we've got a little bit of animosity between them, because that was kind of aggressive for just starting a battle 8 minutes into this. And now Brune's going to go back to his defensive inside line at the bottom of the hill, but he kind of misses the main inside line he's been taking, and that's a big slide out that's going to cost him some time. Here comes Partallo with a great run up the hill. Now tries this outside switchback line into the wall jump. Brune goes a little deep on that and doesn't get the preferred option through there, so now Partallo is really smelling blood in the water. Outside to in option here before the mechanics area doesn't quite work just yet. Who gets a better run out of this corner? It's always crucial coming down through the first turn complex. They both get it pretty evenly and funnel into that same rut. Brune pushes out Partallo to the outside, trying to take the lead. Brune forces his hand and pushes Partallo to the ground. It was going to come to blows eventually. No contact looked like it was really made, but he certainly gave Partallo a decision there. You either got to back out or make contact, and Partallo backed out maybe a little bit too late, pushed the nose over the rut, and down he went. Now Brune has got himself a 9-second advantage. And let's see how he manages that one from here with still 21 minutes left to go in this race. Meanwhile, fight for third is on. Race Cobble, Allied Kawasaki against Seth Carr, your championship leader, who is, like we said, on a 125 in this race. Let's listen to this thing. Listen how he purrs around the racetrack. His Race Cobble goes exit stage right. I don't know how he saved that, because on my screen he just backflipped off the track. But let's see what Seth Carr can do now with a little bit of clean air here. Oh, never mind. Goes down all by his lonesome at the bottom of the hill. Front end tuck. Dylan Dallaire goes by, Ben Nerona, and all of those people he just spent probably 4 or 5 laps passing. He's going to have to pass some of them again. Evan Holt just gave, who was that? Nerona the business? No, Nerona's up ahead of these guys. So that was Dallaire who just got pushed out. And Seth Carr finds himself in the middle of Nerona, Evan Holt, Tom Quinault, all fighting inside of the top 5. Holtzy trying to get to this inside line hard on the brakes at the bottom of the hill. And those lines work out pretty evenly. How is Seth Carr getting a better drive on a 125 up the hill than these guys? Come on. These guys got to get with the program as Carr and Holtzy do some pirouettes together and allow a couple riders to go by. One of them was Tyler Nichols. Dylan Dallaire and Quinault battling each other. I'll tell you what, man, the MX2 class, they are delivering in the mid-pack battles. These guys are nose to tail almost every time we come back to them. So while it's been pretty cut and dry at the front of the field most of the year, the mid-pack stuff is great as Dallaire makes a nice move on Quinault, and then stacking it up in front of them is Nerona. So all 5 of these guys that were in a battle with each other just go by. Holtzy's trying to make an outside move on Carr. Carr rips the inside to get by Nichols. And we still have 5 bikes nose to tail here at the top of the hill as Quinault slides out coming down the hill. Carr gets another position. This is now 5th on the track, I believe. Yeah, behind Nerona. No, sorry, Dallaire. Nerona is up ahead of these guys. So Carr is going back to work on getting around this group. He had passed every single one of them from 9th up to 4th and then crashed back to 7th. Now he's 5th again, trying to get by Dylan Dallaire. Race Cobble's gotten away from this group. There's Partolo and Brune still at the top of the hill battling each other for the lead, and Brune just landed on a lapper and is down. Is this going to be Partolo's position? He goes over the hill and takes the lead, trying to get around lappers, and then he goes down. He gets into the lap traffic and is off the bike. Race Cobble also crashed in the background behind these guys, so now it's Brune back into the lead. Partolo, same gap they were before, 2nd, and Cobble now with all kinds of heat from that fight coming from 4th. It's Cobble, Dallaire, Carr, and the rest of them fighting it out for 3rd place on the track now. So each of the top 3 positions just had pretty much simultaneous crashes, and now looks like Carr just had a big mistake at the top of the hill. So it's Cobble versus Dallaire in a fight for 3rd on the racetrack. Cobble had inched away from this group, although some of it was helped by some crashing, but I think he has a little bit more speed in hand than specifically Dylan Dallaire. I think Carr's going faster than all these guys still on his 125. He just keeps crashing. Lap traffic trying not to be much of a bother there. This fight just continues to rage on. We're watching Dallaire in 4th. Here comes Seth Carr with a inside move. The thing about the 125 is it's just so momentum dependent, especially against the 250s. Like, I feel like if you race a 250 two-stroke in the 450 class, which was the last time I raced a pro race, that's what I did in 2017, the momentum of the 250 two-stroke and the power that it has is not that dissimilar to a 450. It's just a little bit less kind of all around. I feel like the 125 is significantly underpowered compared to the 250Fs in this game anymore. And I don't know why that is, other than that the RM, which is, we've always joked, an RM 144, JLV made the 125 RM a little bit faster than everything else. They're just the oldest versions of the dynos that he still has, because they're all such old bikes. But if you race like a YZ 252 stroke, you got like a 2012 dyno versus the RM 125, which is an 06. The power difference from those two strokes to each other probably fairly significant. The gains they made over the years on those bikes. It's the only thing I can really clue into, I guess. But we still don't ever really see many 252 strokes against 450s in real life, and same vice versa, 125s versus 250Fs. Dylan Dallaire up alongside Race Cobble for third. It's going to be the inside of the top of the hill, and it is going to be the position secured. Seth Carr squeezes underneath to also get by Cobble. And it's 2 positions lost for the price of 1. Race Cobble third back to 5th. And now with some clean air, can Dallaire get away from Seth Carr? I don't think so. Carr looks like he is on a mission to get into 3rd place here. And if his teammate Partolo up the track can go win the race, it'll actually be the Grand Prix victory for Carr to go 1-3 to Lucas Brune's 2-2. So he's probably even cheering on Partolo. And as I say that, Partolo has retaken the race lead from Brune. A crash, most likely the culprit. And out front is the 10. So, it is Brune with a 2-2 still winning the overall to the 1-4. Actually, it's now a 1-5. Carr did lose the spot back to Cobble. But honestly, the leaders are still not that far in front of the battle that we're watching here, with Cobble in fourth, right behind Dylan Dallaire, who's just up the track in third, and they are going through so much lap traffic race. Cobble exit stage left, he's down, and Dallaire went down too. That is Seth Carr into third. And that is for the overall as it runs. 1-3 for Carr, 2-2 for Lucas Brune. 1-3 gets it done by a singular point. The way it works out, 25 points for the win, 20 points for third, lands him on 45 points, whereas Lucas Brune, 22 points for second, gets it twice, lands him on 44 points. So a singular point would be the difference as it runs. Oh, Partolo is down with the lead though, and there goes Lucas Brune back to the front. And just as quickly as Carr got into a position to win the overall, it's back into the hands of this man, Lucas Brune. Now he sits on 2-1 scores, which of course beats a 1-3 and controls his own destiny, because if he wins this moto, he wins the overall no matter what. Even if Carr gets to second, they would tie, but the tiebreaker is always the better second moto score when it comes to determining overall positioning. So now Seth Carr has to put his head down here in the final 12.5 minutes plus 2 laps and try to go up there and ruffle some feathers for a Grand Prix victory. Although, I guess it should be said, it is not out of the question yet that Partolo just runs down Lucas Brune all by himself, because it's down to 2.1 already. And we have got ourselves a battle brewing for the lead here in Saint-Jean-d'Angely. Brune is back to his usual business that he was making those critical mistakes earlier. It seems like little bobbles here and there are allowing Partolo to get closer. And with still so much time on the clock, this could go any direction. And it was about 2 seconds. It's almost nothing now. It's pretty much nose to tail. Partolo has caught him quickly, and that is dangerous for Lucas Brune out front. He has got to try to go defensive mode, which is such an uncomfortable position to be in because you can't look back in sim. The only thing that you can really help with is having someone spotting for you in Discord, or if anybody still uses TeamSpeak. But usually these guys hanging out in a Discord together, someone's helping Lucas Brune determine, hey, where is Partolo on the track? As Partolo just makes a huge mistake, does not fall off the bike, but that's going to cost him 3 or 4 seconds. Yep, back down to 5 seconds back with that one little high side. I did not see that you started your training, Saru. I don't know what training you're doing, but best of luck. 5-year journey. Is that 5 years until you're AJ Catanzaro or whatever? Oh, change for the lead. We were on board with Partolo, and he scoots by Lucas Brune. So Brune makes another critical mistake. And Partolo is back to the front. I was going to say, these guys have got to have Seth Carr on them soon, and they do. Seth Carr can now see Lucas Brune right in front of him, and he's winning the Grand Prix, but I'm telling you, man, he wants to win this moto. Let's see, inside for second place at the top of the hill. And you have to imagine Brune, of all things, doesn't want to lose the race to the 125. 2 seconds in it at the front of the field. 2.8 from third to first right now. This is the closest Seth Carr's been to the lead, and Brune gives him the business and puts him down. Fortunately, not a full fall off for Seth Carr, but a lot of time lost, especially when you got to grind all the way up the hill on that 125. Thought that was maybe Wilczek moving into fourth, but he is a lap down, so it's still Dylan Dallaire fourth and Tom Quinault fifth. A 5-5 day for Quinault. Dallaire's going 4-4. So they are potentially going to debate a podium spot overall eventually. Side by side with Seth Carr passing Partolo into second place, which means Lucas Brune is back into the lead again. So Partolo keeps getting into the lead and crashing it away just like Brune, and that is allowing Seth Carr into the picture here for this race victory. We are down to less than 9 minutes and 2 laps to go, and we have got a 125 trying to win the Grand Prix and the Moto here in France. What a story this will be. Seth Carr has been dominant all year, so dominant that he says, you know what, I'll just run a half-powered machine more or less, half the CCs at least, and come out here and try to win this race straight up against all the 250Fs. Brune trying to work through some lap traffic. I mean, the thing that Carr has going for him is that this track is very tight, very slippery, and he can almost wring the neck of this 125 to its limits, which is a style of play that a lot of these 250 guys like. They like the ability to ride a 250F very hard and wide open, and it's usually why they're not as comfortable on a 450 just yet. So if you're Carr, you might like the ability to just be able to push this thing to its max and still feel pretty comfortable. So this is it. This is the battle for the overall. 2-1 to 1-2 right now, but Carr wants to go 1-1 here today. And we've got probably about 7 laps left or so to figure this thing out. On to lap number 14 we go. Almost nothing in it between Lucas Brune and Seth Carr, as Carr pokes his nose up the inside. Momentum through that corner, triples up the hill behind him. And they're both going to go to this inside line right here, but you can see the exit speed the Brune gets is that much better. Both to the inside here, and same thing. Exit speed helps. 13 machine has got to get out of the way. He's going to leave the door open to allow Seth Carr to go to the inside there. And Carr uses the outside to absolutely shred up to the top of the hill. But that little sequence there gave just an advantage, a slight one at that to Lucas Brune. And now Carr really trying to force the issue to the outside. Lapper down in his line, and that's even more time lost. So they started about a second apart. It's now almost 2 seconds between them. 1.6 to be exact now. And we're just going to stick on board here with Carr and see this gap slowly work its way back down. He ran his personal best last time by at a 1:45.1, and not even slowly work its way back down. He's almost side by side with him coming down the hill to the mechanics area. They've pulled away from Partolo, and our 2 leaders can just settle down and have their battle. Partolo gets a great run up the inside, but Brune just uses that 250F power to get back into position. They both double their way down the hill. And here we go once again, around and around we go. Lap traffic moves aside and lets these guys just continue the fight. Inside for Carr. This is where he almost got him last time. Tries to pull up alongside. He's got the preferred inside option, and he's into the lead. Seth Carr with a nice move. Back-to-back inside ruts force Lucas Brune out, and he's out front, but now he's made another mistake at the bottom of the hill, and Brune's trying to pull back alongside. He's trying to swoop this outside and carry that momentum, but it doesn't work, and Carr has got the control of the front to himself. Unbelievable scenes. But Lucas Brune is not done just yet. And this is where he has the potential to gain some time back. I mean, Carr is carrying so much speed into the bottom of the hill, but if Brune could have just got that inside rut a little bit better, he might have had him. Carr has to leave the door so wide open to keep the momentum pinned on that 125. And Brune is giving him everything he can handle as they jump into the wall jump together. Very nicely done for one lapper to move aside, and then Holtze jumps back into the line and puts Lucas Brune down. Oh, the unfortunate move aside for one leader, get involved with the other, and it gives Seth Carr a massive advantage now as Brune gets going in a battle with Partolo for second. And we know how many times Seth Carr has just taken off and ran with the lead once he gets it. It's a bit of a different story on a 125, but his consistency is what has got him to the point of having a massive championship lead. Now at this point, Partillo is just simply fighting to keep the world championship alive. I think, provisionally speaking, it is at 145 points between the two of them as it runs on track. So if Partillo can just stay in this position, the world title will go to the 8th round next week. But Partillo wants a piece of Lucas Brune to try to get into second, and Brune, still maybe a bit flustered by that, has now made another critical mistake, and Partillo takes advantage to go by. Panini Motorsports 1-2 on the track. Seth Carr and Austin Partillo. Carr is not that far out in front at the moment, though. Wonder if he got involved with a couple other riders at some point on this lap, because it's only 4.2 seconds, and he's still trying to work through some more lap traffic. Gonna push to the outside here. Oh, a little off center on that rut. That's the second lap in a row. He's made a kind of noticeable mistake at the bottom of the hill there, and then Partillo is gonna see that gap inch a little bit closer because of it. So now if you're Partillo here, I know he's your teammate, but hey, you know, you're trying to keep this world championship alive as long as you possibly can. Go up there and win the moto. Why not? Have yourself a day and spoil the party that Seth Carr is trying to have here. Ooh, that's a big mistake. Pushed out wide. So Partillo is weaving through some of this lap traffic. We have got 2 minutes and 2 laps left to go. Most likely 3 to go still this time by. Let's see. Maybe 4 to go. It's going to be really close next time by. Partillo now 6.2 back. That lap traffic is really unsettling these guys. Here is Brune still in third. Race Cobble a quiet 4th, and Dylan Dallaire rounding out our top 5. Should be good enough for 4th overall, going 4-5 on the day, but Maverick Snyder hanging out right here, trying to go 7-5. Right on the tail feathers of Dallaire. So this is a good fight. These two have seen each other a lot today. They have found each other on the track more than once in both motos. And they're going to have to fight it out once again. It seems like it's always Snyder doing the chasing, but this time he might be able to get down the inside and make this pass. Same pass we saw Seth Carr make for the lead, and it's going to work for Snyder, or will it? Inside move for Dallaire, fights back and keeps the position. I like when that type of situation presents itself and the guy on the outside just is refusing to let it go. He is going to fight all the way to the next corner. Gives us some good battles to watch, no question about it. So I came back to Carr because while that battle is good, I wanted to see whether or not we get the 2-lap board this time by or not. It is going to be very close. He's having a good lap. And he needed to go sub 150, I think, to get the 3 to go this time by. We are down to 15 seconds left on the clock with 2 turns to go. This is going to be very close. All right, we are down to 5, 4, and he's across the line with 4 seconds left on the clock. We got 3 laps to go. So is that a good thing or a bad thing for Seth Carr? You tell me. He's got an extra lap in which Partillo could take advantage of a mistake, but Carr's been inching away from him. 47.3 to 48.2 for Partillo. Now Partillo gets into a downed rider, so that gap was going to open up over just about 10 seconds now, actually. 9.6. Lucas Brune, almost gets into that same lapper who was just trying to get up and get out of the way, but that was almost a bit of a frustrating moment for second and third to hit the same rider. And then Race Cobble is just hanging out in 4th. He's trying his best to close the gap down. He's only 10 seconds back of Lucas Brune. after a 9th in the first moto. He certainly would like to get 3rd in this one. Wouldn't be enough for the podium overall, I don't think, but you never know. Ooh, looks like Seth Carr maybe just had a incident with a lapper. He was stopped on the racetrack for a brief second. But he's up and going. Pardon me for just a moment, people. Trying to keep bad chats out of our chat room. So Carr has now got 2 laps to go on this track. And we have got a fight for second place starting to brew. Partelot has slipped to the clutches of Lucas Brune. And Brune's trying to go 2-2 on the day to secure 2nd overall. He's going to get 2nd overall anyway. 2-3 has got it well and truly covered at the moment. But he would certainly like to maximize his points haul. And he really thought for a minute that this overall win would be his. Inside line on Partelot. Remember, these two got together early in the race as well, fighting for the lead. So I wonder if there's still a little bit of that in the back of their minds. Certainly so for Brune, because he was the one on the outside that got caught by Partelot sneaking to the inside to try to make a pass. Brune likes this inside. Does it work? Nope. Kind of got stuck in it there. And if you don't get it good, you suffer the whole uphill afterwards. So Partelot uses the outside to scoot away. And they are, dang, 20 seconds behind Seth Carr out front. He is pretty much in cruise control at this point. He's going to get the white flag this time by. Unbelievable that he has done what he has done in this moto on a 125. It's one thing to have a couple things fall your way and get an early lead and just ride your own race and win on a 125. It's another thing to go from 10th to 3rd, back to 7th, back up to 3rd, then pass 2 of the fastest guys all day who are battling each other for the lead and just take off from them and do it all while riding an underpowered bike. But he has made it happen, and incredibly so. It's not going to be enough to win the world title as Partelot slides out and lows Brune by into 2nd. Not going to be enough to win the world title today for Seth Carr, but he has put himself in a prime position to wrap it up at least 2 rounds early next week. With just 3 rounds of this GP season left, he has certainly made this series all his for the taking, and will benefit soon with a fancy gold #1 plate to add to his mantle. But Seth Carr, at least here in France, is going to put another unique mark on this title run, and that is winning a moto on a 125. And it's going to help him win the Grand Prix on the day. He's going to go 1-1 for his 6th Grand Prix victory of the season. He's won all but one of them. Works his way through some of the lap traffic here. That's Emmanuel Cepeda and Jared Gummison. Just one final time to move aside for them. And he has got 2 turns left to navigate to bring this thing home. What a performance. What a ride. What a day. It's not going to be the world title, but it's going to be a huge RFGP of France victory. Seth Carr takes MX2, Race 2, and the overall here at Saint-Jean-d'Angely. And now he is on the doorstep of his first MX2 World Championship. And will it be next week? Is a mistake for Brune with 2 turns to go. Hands P2 back over to Partelot. They battled all moto long, and Partelot ends up on top with a 2nd place finish, 10-2 on the day. We'll see if it's good enough for a podium. It might be, depending on where Dallaire and Quinault ended up. Lucas Brune is going to get 2nd overall with 2-3. Race Cobble goes 9-4. Snyder was up to 5th. he just went down. He is still fifth. So Dylan Delaire is going to go 4-6, and I'm not a mathematician. I don't know how 10-2 works out against a 4-6. 4-6 would be 18 plus 15, so it'd be 37 points? No, can't do math. 34 points, 33 points versus a 10-2, which should be 12 and 20, 32. So I guess, yeah, Delaire with a 4-6 would still get it on the podium. How about that? 4-6 for third. Overalls have been very split today. Maverick Snyder does cross the line in fifth, and we think Dylan Delaire will be third overall with that sixth place finish right there. Jack Gatlin and Tyler Nichols going at it with Colin Holden right behind them all the way to the checkered flag. It is going to be Gatlin by a hair, 55 hundredths of a second, and Nichols gets it on cuts after the race is finished. He'll get seventh. Nerona ends up in ninth. And actually, Delaire, yeah, so Delaire was sixth. Nerona ends up ninth. And Vanderkoy rounds out our top 10 after penalties are applied. What a performance, though, by Seth Carr. He sweeps the RFGP of France in the MX2 division. And one more week away until he can celebrate this MX2 World Championship. All right, folks, we have got one more race left to go here today. It is MXGP Race 2 coming up. We had a barn burner for the first one, and we are about to see another good race here in Moto 2. So let's get it rolling, shall we? 450 Moto 2, MX2 Race 2, or MXGP Race 2, whatever you want to call it, coming up. Shout out to everybody who tuned in this afternoon. A little bit of a different stream, afternoon action here of the RFGP of France. And again, apologies that we were not able to cast it last night. Was not home until late last evening from a travel trip that I did. So couldn't stream it live, but we're covering it today and wanted to stream it this afternoon so I could still spend some time with my daughter this evening. Because, of course, we are going to be streaming Round 9 of RaceFactoryGaming Nationals tomorrow night from Unadilla. And I won't see her tomorrow night, so I wanted to see her tonight. So we started the stream a little bit early. I was also kind of keen to see the viewership numbers that we'd have with a kind of mid-afternoon stream. Not a ton of you guys watching, but that's all right. Hopefully the ones that are here are having a good time, hanging out and enjoying themselves. And you're ready for one more race. Who's still here? Where's my people in the chat room? Let's hear it. Always fun to interact with you guys and see how you're feeling about the racing. Hey, there's Seth. He's still here. I get to see what he does here in MXGP Race 2 coming up. As a reminder, MXGP Race 1 was Seth Shirley, Tyler Lane, Colby Eaglin, Bodie Parker, Killian Ortiz, Braden Castellaneta, Brandon Larson, Kyle Boardman, Frank Jackson, and Adam Holm. Jackson's still here. Race Cobble's backflip deserves the 1-1. I mean, we always love a good backflip, that's for sure. Are you still living at Club, Seth? Or did you move out? Or if you don't want to disclose it. Left Club in 2021. Okay, so it's been a minute. Next level. Okay, yep. I didn't know for sure. I know you guys sometimes move around those training facilities. All right, one more race to go. Let's have some fun, shall we? Oh, let's get that dialed in. Training with Jessica Patterson and Daniel Blair. Well, tell Daniel Blair to email me back if you see him tomorrow. All right, let's get our graphics up here and get ready to drop the gate 450 Moto 2-time MXGP race number 2 is ready to go. Who is going to get the whole shot? A lot less people on the gate this time, so we got a little bit more wiggle room. We like to see it come out of that inside. T-Lang is up there. Kyle Boardman. Seth Shirley got it the first moto. Who gets it? Race 2. It's MXGP race 2 off and running. Into turn number 1. This time looks like Castellaneta versus T-Lang are getting there together. No, out of the middle it was Stubbs on the 69 Takatoji Yamaha who just gripped and ripped through that middle rut to grab the whole shot. What a start. He's off and running. Let's see what he can do with the lead. To the bottom of the hill, a little bit of a rear end slide coming in there. Castellaneta moved up into second on the number 8, and then Lang now finds himself in third. Dropping down the hill, it is Stubbs, Castellaneta, Lang, Bodie Parker, Colby Eagland. Again, some of our heavy hitters near the sharp end of the field in this one. Although, where is Seth Shirley as Eagland goes down mid-pack, and he brings a couple with him, including Seth Shirley, who just got absolutely punted by Kyle Boardman and gave him a boost up the uphill right there. And we got more riders down. Beelar is down with Hayden Stevenson, who is the Triumph that was laying in the corner right there. That's Caleb Hall. Caleb Hall was down. Tough break. He was off to a good start in the first moto. And look at all the single digits in here. One of them is Wyatt Grant for some reason using a TSEZ bike. But I don't know what Wyatt Grant's deal is anymore. I thought he'd race a 250 for the rest of the year. He's not. Back to our leader. Tyler Lang has taken over at the front of the field. And is this trouble for everybody else? Let's find out. He was second in the first moto to his teammate Seth Shirley. Bodie Parker, Killian Ortiz, Jeff Cooper, Jason Stubbs, and then Seth Shirley matching his number, running P6 at the moment. A little bit long on that one. Oh, down off the track, Jeff Cooper to the outside of the off-camber. Loses P2 or P4, I should say, to Jason Stubbs. Ortiz and Bodie Parker trying to keep pace with Lang. Not an easy thing to do. Said earlier in the broadcast that Lang, known for his consistency and not necessarily much his speed, but honestly, he's known for his speed too. He's always been very good in qualifying and can run some of the best laps of the program late in motos, which not many guys can do. So his speed is certainly up there, but what's unparalleled about him is that he can run that speed and the consistency is usually on par with it as well. So it's going to be tough ask for Parker, Killian Ortiz, these guys to get up there and mix it up. But if Lang doesn't get away early here, it does open the door of opportunity for someone like Seth Shirley to get up there and start running some good lap times. We shall find out. So we've got 27 minutes and 2 laps of racing left to go here at Saint-Jean-d'Angely, round 7 of the Race Factory Gaming Grand Prix Championship. And speaking of Shirley, looks like he may have gone down. He's back to 8th behind O'Brien and Wyatt Grant. Castellaneta now 9th, Reed Young 10th. Beelar slipped back to 11th after that crash, and Eagland actually came out not too bad for crashing 5 turns into the race. He is in 14th. All right, we've got ourselves a battle for the lead, a Bruin. T-Lang versus Bodie Parker. And if anybody knows Bodie Parker, please tell him to DM me and send me his skins, which he probably already did, and I probably missed it. But I have not had his bike pretty much all year. I've had his gear up until now. Or if he just wants to be stock Honda Warrior, I don't mind. That's cool with me. Look at this. Parker tripling up the hill right into the rear fender of T-Lang. And yeah, we got to race, people. Killian Ortiz also hanging tight in the background. Parker inside move on Lang. Not able to get it done just yet, but actually has a little bit more speed in hand. How about this turn of events to see Bodie Parker putting the fire to Tyler Lang right now? This would be something else to see this change to the lead happen. Woo, look at that scrub at the top of the hill. And honestly, Ortiz might be the fastest of the three. Inside move for Parker. Gets it very nicely. Lang ripped the outside. But at the moment, he's having to ride pretty picture perfect because Parker's just sitting in his wake waiting for an opportunity. As they jump down the hill together into the off camber. Tricky to keep that momentum rolling through there, but they both do a pretty solid job of it. Inside to outside splits. Parker just on the rear fender, and Lang is down with the lead. Rear end slip into the corner. Odd to see that type of crash from the defending champion, but it gives Parker the lead. And here comes Seth Shirley from third. Now we've got ourselves a race. Killian Ortiz went down. Shirley just went 48-1. And I'd have to imagine with some clean track is about to put some absolute fire down on the pit board. Our race leader goes 42.9 out of Bodie Parker. T-Lang had gone 44.4. So yeah, Parker had the speed, no question about it. What Shirley got this time by? 41.9, new fastest lap of the race. Had to believe it was coming, and boy, was it there in a hurry. So 3.2 seconds to his teammate. And with Parker leading this thing, Shirley is in a position to win the Grand Prix overall. Parker on a 4-1, Shirley on a 1-3, Lang on a 2-2 as it runs. Lap traffic. Did Lang just go down on a lapper? He did. He's off the track. Tyler Lang off the track, going down with a lapped rider. And wow, that's a odd turn of events right there. Castellaneta suddenly right behind him. And Seth Shirley's up into second place. So where is Eagland? Here he is jumping down the hill with Stevenson. Stevenson charging to the outside, trying to get by Stubbs. And Eagland's like, yeah, guys, I'm just going to get both of you. Enjoy battling each other. I'm out of here. That was a very solid read and maneuver by Colby Eagland to just let those guys have their duel and go to the outside. So Eagland squares off the corner, sees Braden Castellaneta ahead of him, and there he goes trying to chase him down. Shirley, clean air in P2 now, goes 42.8, 11.2 seconds down. Was actually slower than race leader Bodie Parker last time by. Hello, Bodie Parker. Welcome to being the fastest man on the track in the fastest series on the planet in this game. He is cooking right now. Look at him go. Jumping down the hill, sees a lot of riders going the other direction. He has got clean air for probably another 3 or 4 corners, and then he's going to hit lappers. That gap is hanging out at 11 seconds. He's going to go by some lap traffic that was down right there. Bouncing down the hill. They're both, or I should say Parker's trying to get that rear tire planted and catch up to some of this lap traffic so he can work his way by. Looks like that might have been Austin Bear that just laid it down. And Shirley is going to run into that same lap traffic group very shortly. There is Ortiz, Lang, Castellaneta, and now Eagland in 6th is reeling in Castellaneta to try to get into the top 5. And all Eagland really needs to worry about right now is where is Tyler Lang, because as much as Seth Shirley, points-wise, can inch closer to the championship fight, he has been sort of out of it since mid-season. And Eagland and Lang have been kind of focusing on each other, as that's Ortiz down out of 3rd. Can't switch to him, but there he is. Killiam Ortiz slots back into fourth as Lang moves back into third. They are quite a ways back from Shirley and Parker, but having their own fight nonetheless. About 12 seconds apiece between the top three. All right, let's see what Egan's lap times are. 43.1 to a 44.8 out of Castellaneta, so he's catching him by the buckets. Ortiz obviously just went down. Lang 46.2, 44.1, 42.1. Bodie Parker, not only fastest on the track, inching closer to Seth Shirley's fastest lap of the race. And his line choice looks very good right now. Momentum and speed through the corners also solid, choosing not to go for the triple when he didn't feel he had the speed, so even smart plays and decisions going on right now. And goes 43.4 to back it up, so he is definitely flying right now, and this is going to be interesting to see if he keeps his pace up, what the more experienced Grand Prix winners like Shirley and Lang are able to do about it, because we still have a lot of racing left, but Parker is kind of clapping cheeks right now, not going to lie. I'm only telling truth right now, and he's got him covered. 12.1 seconds. And look, I mean, this has kind of slowly been materializing all season long. He has been very good. Fourth in the first moto. I think he podiumed a GP either in Portugal or the week before in Spain. I can't remember, but he was definitely battling in the mix. But I don't know that I saw outright enough speed to just go race for the victory. Oh, and as I say that, he makes a crucial mistake, lands off the right side and clips a tough block. Down he goes. That was a pretty quick fall off, though. He may only lose about 8 seconds. And Seth already went down and goes down again. Lang is back by into second. And hold the phone. We have got ourselves an overall battle going on here. Ortiz into third. Lang on a 2-2 might have it at the moment to Parker's 4-1 and Shirley's 1-4. But if Ortiz can get up there and pass Lang, Bodie Parker could go 4-1 and win the Grand Prix. Still so much racing left to go, but this is a very interesting dynamic starting to take shape here in MXGP Race 2. Oh, great. There's so much SMX Cum content. Oh, boy. The receipts are being kept. I don't even know what I just said. Did I say blows his load? What did I say? Probably the worst part about it is you don't even remember. All right, Eaglin has disposed of Castellaneta. He is now 5th and chasing Seth Shirley next on the track. Lang looks like he's figured it out again. He is cooking. 41.8, yep. New fastest lap of the race. Anyone else in the, well, 42.7, Frank Jackson. Yeah, that 41.8 is the fastest on the track overall, and at the moment, Lang is starting to reel the gap to Bodie Parker down a little bit. And we've talked about it already the last few streams in these GP races. Tyler Lang kind of started hitting his stride like just at the right moment in this season. Clapping cheeks. Yeah. Yeah, but T-Lang really just kind of started hitting his stride, I feel like, round 4. I think he won the second GP of the year. Or no, that was like England, actually. Apologies. So, yeah, round 4 or so, Lang really started figuring it out and went 1-1, I believe, last week in Portugal, trying to go 2-2 to win the overall right now, but I didn't even want to go 2-1 and go catch our race leader, Bodie Parker, who is weaving and diving through the lap traffic. He has lapped his way up to, let's see, who is still on the lead lap? Reed Young in 20 seconds. So about halfway through the moto, Adam Holm has been put a lap down. Let's see, Bodie Parker right there, going up the hill in the race lead. Aaron Rockefeller standing on his nose at the bottom of the hill. Bit of a funky fall-off crash right there. Good little battles throughout the field. Wyatt Grant getting points this time around. Eaglin 5.3 back of Killian Ortiz. Seth Shirley got back by him, is now 7.7 back of T-Lang. So Shirley on a 1-3, back to a position to win the Grand Prix. But Lang is inching the gap down to the leader. 10.2. It was over 11 seconds last time we saw him. Almost got it under a fall-off crash distance away. Whew. Pushing out of that rut just at the wrong time. Just at the time where it makes you gulp a little hard and your tummy drops. Down to exactly 10 seconds as Parker goes 43.5. Just want to stick to be able to see the pit boards this time by what Lang lays in. Lang goes 43.2. Interesting. So not as fast as I thought he was based on the time gained. I thought we went from almost 12 seconds down under 10, but it is not the case. He only gained a few tenths that lap. So Lang is still trying to inch the gap down as Bodie Parker starts to run into some more severe lapped traffic. And these guys are starting to knock on the door for points paying positions. So that's even tougher to get around them because they want to get as many points as they possibly can or at least score points. And if you're Parker, you're just hoping and praying that they don't fight their way into taking you onto the ground. But Bodie Parker going to do his absolute best to make something happen and win this race. It's not going to be for the overall win as it runs at the moment, but it could be something so much more special. His first career moto win if he does. Flying down past the mechanics area here on lap 11 and weaving his way up the hill. Finally has a little bit of clear track in front of him. He's got, well, as I say that, he's going to hit another 3 group here, and one of them just went down. There's Lang and Shirley now going by the mechanics area. It gives an idea of the distances. It is still slowly coming down. Ooh, Parker tripling in traffic is always a bit of a dodgy decision. Works out this time. And weaving through Austin Bear and the 55 machine. 55 machine did not race Moto 1, apparently. Don't see him on the list. Oh, Dre Smith, excuse me. Dre Smith going a lap down. Oh, Seth Shirley down before the finish line jump. Gonna pick it up in third still, but 15 seconds down now of Lang. Still winning the overall as it stands, but... Oh, and now Lang's down out of second. That's gonna be huge for Parker coming into the final third of this moto. We have got 11 minutes and 2 laps to go, and he's got a 20-second advantage to work with. That's so much more comfortable than 10, because 10 means you crash and you are suddenly in a battle for the lead. 20, you crash and you have some time to regroup. So this is his time to shine right now. You are in the best possible position you can be right now if you're Bodie Parker. Time running down and a rather comfortable advantage at the front of the field. It is on Lang and Shirley to stay solid, perfect, and run good lap times. If they can run lap times where they just, on merit alone, get the gap down to, let's say, 15, maybe even back to 10 seconds, that's where the pressure starts to fall back on the lap of Bodie Parker late in the race, because if he has 2 fall-off crashes, it's over. 1, he's still good right now, but that's a tough ask for someone who has never been in this position before, leading a Grand Prix race with just 10 minutes left on the clock. Take a deep breath and take your time with the lappers. Don't force anything that doesn't feel comfortable or safe, because that will be the moment you end up on the ground trying to do something that didn't need to be done. Bobby Eagland is charged all the way up to 4th now. And so for his sake, he's hoping that Shirley can go get Lang and they get into a battle and he can catch them. And maybe that's the best thing Parker has going for him as well, is they might all just be thinking about each other back there a little bit. So far back of the race lead that they might just look at Parker as a foregone conclusion. The race is over. You never know what's really going on in their head. Look at that. Parker having to avoid some lap traffic going down right in front of him. Meanwhile, Lang is buried in lap traffic, trying not to get hit by them. Seth Shirley almost just tripled into the wall jump right there. So Shirley looks like he might be on the move once again in terms of raw speed. Want to see if we stick on board with him this lap, if this is one of, if not the fastest laps of the race. 41.8 is the current mark to beat. He went 41.9 early in the moto, but there's a new sheriff in town up the road, and this lap traffic is not going to help his case in trying to set that blistering lap time, and that lapper jumping underneath of him is certainly not going to help, as he probably had just about a full fall-off length crash right there trying to deal with that, and Lang's down again. Did he just OJ the double? Or case the triple? Like, I don't... That's very awkward, and suddenly Bodie Parker's got himself a massive lead with 8 minutes and 2 laps to go. So, talked about it maybe being a foregone conclusion in the minds of T. Lang and Shirley that whoever is leading, they might not even know, but whoever it is, it's too far gone. Now it really almost is too far gone, because Parker can crash twice and still lead and potentially win this thing. And now, if you're Parker, you don't even have to think about, all right, hot laps, hit my marks, consistency. Just go do your race, man. Just focus on yourself. Don't think about anything else. Weave through the lap traffic as comfortably as you can, because this is his for the taking now, as Shirley is back on the prowl trying to run his teammate Tyler Lang down. Again, still in a position to win the overall, but might he even go 1-2 on the day? We'll see. Gap is coming down slowly but surely for Seth Shirley. No pun intended. I mean, the amount of times that people probably say that to Seth is... it's probably just ridiculous. So T-Lang triples up the hill and can start to feel a little bit of the heat being applied from his teammate Seth Shirley. It is down under 3 seconds between the two of them. And it's almost go time. Lap traffic is going to hinder Lang more than it will Shirley in this situation, because there's such a gap from the leader to second that they're going to be probably a little bit baffled when they get the blue bar again, and maybe flustered to let him go. Whereas once Lang goes by, Shirley hits, for example, he'll come up to Caleb Hall here, and Hall will see the blue bar for Lang, and then suddenly the blue bar for Shirley, and it'll be like, okay, these guys are in a fight, gotta let them go. It's usually how it goes. Not always. usually how it goes, though, trying to get around lappers like this. What is going to happen in the final 5 minutes of this moto? Let's find out. Overall win in the hands of Seth Surley with a 1-3, a 2-2 performance for Tyler Lang right now, and a 4-1 on the docket for this gentleman, and a first career moto victory potentially for Bodie Parker. 11-second lead. It is coming down. Lap traffic is starting to play more of a factor. He has crashed. He has made mistakes. And is the pressure getting to him a little bit? That would be such a bummer to see him lose it now this late into it, because he's only got 4.5 minutes plus 2 laps still to hold on to this thing, and he's down with the lead. Push the front end over this rut. That's not going to cost him the lead just yet, but it is going to be much, much closer. He gets up as Lang comes down the hill where he just crashed from. Oh, look at the lappers. They're everywhere. And Shirley is still hanging out in the background, so Lang, if he can get to Parker, stands a shot at winning this Grand Prix still with a 2-1 performance. But Lang's off the track, and Shirley goes by into second. So Seth Shirley moves up into P2 in this race. He's trying to get around Brandon Larson and, who is this Triumph rider? It is Hayden Stevenson on the Nexus Triumph, I think it is. Getting to the inside and getting out of the way, but that gap is going to be almost gone now. Seth Shirley is 3.3 seconds off the lead for Bodie Parker. It was out to 25 seconds at one point, and it's almost nothing. Oh, this is going to be a heartbreak. Parker is just going to try his best to defend and hold on. He was once the fastest man on the track, but it might be the wrong approach to go back to doing those laps right now. You've still got to force them to catch you and pass you. It's one thing to catch. It's another thing to pass. In this game, you leave yourself open to so many opportunities for guys to just take advantage and go right by you if you force the errors yourself. So Parker is just going to try to bring this thing home and stay clean as much as possibly can. Tripling up the hill again. Blake O'Brien gets in front of him and goes down and takes down Parker with him, and he's off the bike. He gets hit from behind. It's a terrible sequence of events as O'Brien just goes right in front of him, and down goes Parker. Into the lead goes Seth Shirley with 3 minutes and 2 laps to go, looking at a 1-1 performance, and suddenly the teammates are going to duke it out for the overall win. 1-1 to 2-2, but if Lang can go get him, it's going to be his overall win for the taking. Oh my goodness, that mistake that Parker fell into, because it was not his fault. He just had Blake O'Brien coming flying in. I don't even know if he's off the track, but maybe just swooping in from an outside line trying to still make the corner or something. I don't know what he was thinking, but he chopped the line off and it took Parker down. And then Parker got hit by another lapper. Off the bike he goes, and back to this race, the battle for the lead we go. Parker not in it anymore. But if these two get together, I guess you never know. We still got 2 minutes and 2 laps to go. Lang had inched closer to Shirley, then made a mistake, got pushed off, and now jumps off the track again. He's pushing. This is a Tyler Lang that wants to win this Grand Prix, even though it's his teammate out front. Seems like Lang just is putting a little extra effort into this late push here that he might still have going. And Parker's just got to be so pissed off right now. 13 seconds off the lead. I mean, in the last 4 laps, he's lost 40 seconds of race time, basically, from either crashes or lap traffic issues. Oh, that's frustrating. All right, 3 to go this time by. Time will certainly expire next time through, and these 3 laps might be some really good ones for this overall win. Shirley versus Lang, the JIBR.co Gas teammates, jumping to the top of the hill together. Oh, Shirley down at the bottom of the hill and off the track. Hands over the lead to Tyler Lang. And that is a very odd mistake from the reigning MX2 world champ. Just bounced into the corner awkwardly and pushed over the berm. And man, the backside of that berm had no love lost whatsoever. It just fell off a cliff. Down he went. And now the onus is put on T-Lang to make the mistake. How close is Parker? Yeah, he's still about 3 or 4 seconds behind Shirley. Man, that's a bummer. Whoa, T-Lang nose high into the wall there. So it is 6 seconds back to Shirley, and we know Seth Shirley can run some heaters. Can he give us 2 good ones here as time has now expired? Are we about to have a race to close this thing out or not? Tyler Lang, 7.2 seconds. Trying to bring this thing home right now. You can see how much the track has changed and evolved throughout the race. Huge braking bumps. The ruts are also quite deep at this point too. Shirley from the middle rut goes for the triple and cases it. Yeah, that gap's opening up. 52.6, a 42.9 for T-Lang out front. 2 laps to go, and enough of a gap now where you can at least theorize that he can back off the gas pedal just a tiny bit. Oh, wait a minute. That is a very awkward crash for Tyler Lang. Front end push over the rut. And here comes his teammate Seth Shirley. We are back on for the battle for the lead and the win here in France with less than 2 laps to go. And obviously that opens the door of opportunity for these two if they get together. Bodie Parker's sitting back there rubbing his hands together, just begging for something to happen. So how much will the teammates push each other, and how will they play it with each other as well? Don't know the situation well enough to know if they were in a Discord for this particular moment with each other, but I'd assume so. And now we get to see them battle each other mano-a-mano. Coming down to the final lap. A couple mistakes there for Shirley. Yeah, Parker is still lurking back here. Not in a call together, and Lang goes down with the lead. High centered on a rut. Gets going before Parker gets there, but it's not much of a gap anymore. Seth Shirley is back out front at Saint-Jean-d'Angely. Trying to weave through lap traffic, and oh my goodness, that lapper almost cost it for him, and then he swaps coming down the hill. So now it's Lang's turn to try to push, and Bodie Parker's just still sitting back here, waiting for his opportunity. White flag is waving here in France. Can Seth Shirley sweep the RFGP of France for what I think is his first overall win of the season? I know he won a moto earlier this year. I think he's won 2 actually. Don't remember if he's got an overall win to his tally just yet, but this could be the first one. Moving the 235 aside, that's Chase Odom. And that's actually 2 laps down for Chase Odom. These guys are flying through these riders. And Lang is keeping it close. Oh, Bodie Parker slips to the outside, and that's going to probably be the end of his charge. Half a lap to go. 2.3 seconds in it. Shirley, a little mistake at the top of the hill. He's trying to power into that wall jump there and not have the last lap mistake be his kryptonite. Coming down the hill past the mechanics area one final time. We have 5 corners left to go, and lappers are coming into play here. Oh, but Parker's in the second around Lang. So Bodie Parker's back into P2, and Shirley is fully backed off. He's just trying to bring this thing home now. Rightfully so. It has been a long, frustrating season in his MXGP rookie campaign for Seth Shirley, but finally, it all comes together. It's a 1-1 sweep for the RFGP of France victory as he pirouettes over the line. Seth Shirley on top in France. Parker down with 2 turns to go. Gets up as Lang comes into the picture, and Lang goes down right before the flag. So Parker's going to take it back over. He's going to get P2 in this race. Lang frustratingly crashes 3 or 4 times on the final 2 or 3 laps and coughs up a overall win. Ends up going 2-3 for second overall. Bodie Parker's going to go 4-2 for third. Colby Eaglin's going to be disappointed in his performance here today. Could have been so much better. But he'll have to settle with losing more points again to Tyler Lang. Castellaneta is going to get a top 5 in this moto. Frank Jackson 6th. Killian Ortiz 7th. Kyle Boardman 8th. And Jason Stubbs in 9th was a lap down. Anthony Pachone rounded out the top 10. Blake O'Brien 11th. Hayden Stevenson 12th. B-Lars 13th. Ethan Commodore 14th. Dre Smith 15th. Aaron Rockefeller 16th. Caleb Hall 17th. Bryce Lizarraga 18th. Wyatt Grant 2 laps down gets points in 19th. And Reed Young also picking up points in 20th. But this man stands atop, or actually flips atop to the jump. We didn't get a cool first career 450 overall win whip or bike hump. We got a yard sale and a half 720 over the finish line jump. But hey, Seth Shirley does it his way or the highway, I'll tell you that. And we're going to see whether penalties affected anything in this top 10. I don't think so. We're all pretty spread apart here. 19-second victory in the end for Seth Shirley on what was so close until that final lap pretty much. And still waiting for, looks like, a rider a lap down to finish. 25th place. Whoever's in 25th is cruising over there, coming to the line. And then after this, we actually get to see the points tallies in both championships because normally they don't have them installed as quickly as we can see them after the race. But obviously this race happened last night, so we're already going to see what the points tallies look like. And we're just waiting to get the penalties. One rider still to finish. And boom. Looks like nothing changed inside of the top 10, and it did not. So Seth Shirley takes the Grand Prix victory from T-Lang P2 overall. And Bodie Parker ends up on the box. 4-2 on the day. Disappointing not to win the moto, but I'm sure he'll be happy to end up on the podium regardless. All right, let's take a look at our championship picture here. As we are, whoops, sorry. Just pressed the wrong button. 7 rounds complete. 3 rounds still to go of RFGP racing. And as mentioned, Seth Carr did not clinch the MX2 championship today, but eliminated mathematically everybody from Jack Gatlin on downward. Gatlin, Wilczek, Holden, Cepeda, Tharp, etc. are not going to be world champions this year. It is either going to be Seth Carr or Austin Partello, and most likely after the next round, it is going to be Seth Carr. MXGP standings, though, Tyler Lang pulls to 29 points ahead of Colby Eagland. Seth Shirley, with his first career MXGP victory, gets closer to Castellaneta, but pretty much by his lonesome in 4th. Castellaneta's got just about 3rd place on lock in the closing stages of this championship, but Lang, 29 points up with 3 rounds still to go. And that is going to do it for our rebroadcast here of the RFGP of France in MX Simulator from Saint-Jean-d'Angely. So glad that you guys could join us here tonight. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the recast of it. Like I said, apologies I was not able to be there live last night, but still got around to doing it today. And I think it was kind of fun to call it with a little bit of a delay and have some people who raced it in the chat chatting with us and talking about all the fun action that was had. So join us tomorrow night for round 9 of the Race Factory Gaming National Championship from Unadilla. Going to be fun to have A-Wood back in the booth with us, and we'll call way too many dualies on the Sky Shot. Going to be a lot of fun to see that tomorrow evening. And yeah, we'll be back with the Grand Prix Championship next Monday, I think. I forget what 3 rounds still remain after this, but we got 3 to go. And we'll call the action all the way down the stretch. So congratulations, Seth Shirley and Seth Carr, the sweeps here today at the RFGP of France. And we hope to see you guys in all of our future videos here on Start Your Systems TV. Thanks to the RaceFactory Gaming track crew and RaceFactoryGaming.com, as well as the DesignLabCo.com for backing the stream. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night for round 9 of RaceFactory Gaming Nationals. So long for now.